Wealthwire, no affiliation with proper Twitter. We don't quite have a name yet. We're close. I'm your host, Jesse Massey.
I don't know if I want to say my name.
Okay, yeah, we don't.
I'm Connor Ashley, but
quite want to get sued yet. The name's on the screen. You can at least you can see that. Good to see everyone here. We have a great show here today, and we actually have our first guest coming in about 20 minutes. So pretty exciting stuff.
Yep.
What have we been up to over the last 2 weeks? Should we give the people an update? Just slaving away.
Yeah. Doing a little bit of work. I mean, you've been reaching out to some people, starting some new interactions, lining up some conversations with some interesting founders. That paired with actually trying to figure out what branding we're going to go for.
Yeah, I would say between the branding and
what's our direction? What are we doing?
What are we doing here in general? Yeah, no, branding, direction, getting conversations started with founders. I think the goal of the show is to really talk to people on the ground and see what it is that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And if they come and can kind of fill in that 30% gap that I think is missing a lot of the time when you're scrolling Twitter and you see a post that you like generally, but you understand that it misses 30% of the real important context because the post has to be optimized for virality in order for it to get views, in order for the person to get sales. This is kind of what everyone's doing on Money Twitter. Respect. It's what you got to do.
Yeah.
But bringing in the experts to fill in that last 30% so that this feels a little bit more like Twitter 2021, 2022. So that's the hope.
A little bit more of the real value.
Yeah,
stuff that matters rather than the copy pasta.
Yeah, the viral slop.
Yep.
Speaking of viral slop, just kidding. We love Jeremy Haynes here. So first post of the day is by our good friend Jeremy Haynes. When you're young,
our good friend, he'll be like, who
the fuck are these guys? Sorry, I don't know if we're swearing either. We need to do that after the show.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So his post today that I thought was interesting. When you're young and first getting money, you got to move through the check boxes fast. Clothes, then location, then cars, then watches, etc. Get those boxes checked so your brain can focus on the real moves. People who skip this step carry it with them forever. What are your thoughts here? I thought this was kind of interesting because this was even something that you and I were talking about yesterday. There's
we touched on it, I guess.
Yeah, there's sort of a divide of people who in this space that are kind of focused on the clothes, the watches, the cars, versus people who are just just give me a cabin in the woods and I'll just print. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, it's a little exaggerated. It's a little juvenile in a sense, but I mean, I think there is definitely some truth to be said in that. But this is you tell a young boy or a young man or a woman or something like that, just go sleep with a bunch of people, right? Just go sleep with a bunch of people, get it out of you, get whatever, and then go settle down at some point and figure out what actually matters. And for a lot of people, this will be helpful. I would say. I mean, in culture right now, it allows you maybe to have had a taste of these things and then be able to move on or prioritize what you're actually interested in. But it's a little bit of a low taste of way of doing things.
Yeah.
I
wonder here a couple of things. First of all, I think whenever people say, oh, just go sleep with a lot of people to get it out of your system, I think most of the time people probably don't have it predisposed in their personality to go and do that. But then once they do it, they get it into their system, not get out of their system, which then actually kind of makes relationships a little bit harder. So I wonder with something like this, there seem to be a number of guys in the space who it's not they actively talk shit on watches or cars or whatever, but they're more oriented towards family stuff.
And then you wonder, if they had always been that way, right? If they were raised in a family or there's something about them made them prioritize those values over the materialistic side of things, let's say.
Yeah. And I wonder further whether there is too much value with the materialistic things. And that's coming from someone who likes the watches, likes the cars, is currently in a phase of life where I'm like, oh, that kind of looks kind of nice. Because I do think there is some merit to the argument of being in a place where you actively try and stay away from those things for a period of time, but then you just go through a period of time where you just sort of go hog wild and you might go too hard kind of thing. And I feel if this is being delivered in a way that's has some wisdom associated with it.
Yeah.
It's just like, yo, just allow yourself to go through, check the box at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then like once that's done, then you can focus on the big boy stuff instead of like being like, oh, I'm just going to grind it out at the beginning. And then all of a sudden you just go crazy and it like ends up affecting things worse down the line.
Yeah. I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah. So I think the very last thing that I'll say here is just it seems like a lot of guys in Bali, Dubai, run into
Bali,
that
Dubai, Miami, Cali.
potential problem. Miami especially.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of these guys go down there, rent the penthouse with like sometimes 2 or 3 other guys, rent the Lambo because it's part of their lifestyle marketing. And like
we're not saying Jeremy's doing that.
No, not at all. Actually, I think
He just moved out of the penthouse.
He just moved into the house.
He's going for like a more wholesome lifestyle now.
Yeah, but like there is sort of like a vibe of like young Miami guru who's like early 20s kind of thing that does this kind of thing. And again, they kind of burn out. And I think in that setting as well, it's almost, I would say it's better to burn out and then try and re-enter the market as like a 23, 24-year-old because you burned out at like 20, 21, as opposed to getting in, burning out at like, it's a lot less sexy to burn out at like 31, 32.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to be waiting until you're in your 30s and 40s and then going and trying to chase this flashy lifestyle. No. The reason they're in these places, it's speed, right?
Yeah.
It's fast. But they want it fast. Like that's they're in the sectors and things where money's actually moving, where energy's high, right?
Yeah. And again, there's nothing negative to that. I think there are a lot of things where I am personally in life where I'd like to be around things that are just a little bit faster. So again, I understand.
I don't know why you're here on the island right
now.
Yeah,
no, for real.
Sitting on slow-mo island.
Yeah, once my lease is up, I'm out. All right, cool. Let's go to the second one here. This guy posted, here's a DM I got in response to this article. I own a 100 million year industrial business. Stay very quiet. Never post about anything. Slow and steady. Working 7 days a week. Love the message on this. I'm going to find more of these stories to show what's possible. So the reason I'm bringing this particular article up, it actually talks about a post that we'll get to a little bit later today. It's this idea of either building in public, number one, which is its own kind of like niche on the internet, versus posting about what it is that you do in order to try and like get sales, versus just not posting at all and just like working in silence.
Yeah.
I don't think I necessarily meant for that to be like the theme for today, but it seems like this is something that's kind of on the top of everyone's mind. So really quick, we'll just kind of skim through this. You see headlines about 22-year-olds who raised 10 million for an app, blah, 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 blah. But you never hear about the guy in your city who owns 15 McDonald's and cleared 4 million last year. There's a reason for that. The McDonald's guy stays quiet because the moment he opens his mouth, someone accuses him of paying poverty wages or poisoning kids with processed foods. Blah, blah, blah. The pattern is always the same. The more real the business, the more visible the owner, the easier it is to villainize them. Tech founders get celebrated for burning cash. Main Street owners get criticized for actually making money. So the people who could actually show you a realistic path to wealth just don't talk. They have nothing to gain and everything to lose, which means there's an entire world of opportunity that stays invisible. It's a shame since their stories should be the most inspirational. They're the most achievable for the average person. And again, I thought this was kind of interesting here because it's a little bit of a blend of what we're trying to do here on the channel. I think part of what it is that we want to do is to talk to like real business owners that aren't just like on the internet for the purpose of hype, because that's the only way that they can actually make money on the back end and see what's properly working in business. And it seems like there's this general feeling in the space where people are legitimately wanting this type of content.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's you get too much of a good thing, and then it becomes, you get a little bit of lose a little taste in your mouth for it, right? Too much of a good thing being the absolute overwhelm people are having when they step online, when they see everybody marketing their business, right? When you see constant messages and people pushing stuff out saying, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's the business offer that I have, and like the content that I'm putting out in order to drive some traffic. It starts to become a lot more attractive to actually have something that's removed from that, where you can be out in the traditional world, have a farm as an example.
Yes,
You know?
farm. Yes, Connor loves farms, as we have
Yeah.
established over the last 24
Right?
hours.
It's a real business. You don't need to talk to anybody like this guy. But I wouldn't say most people, like in this example, most people aren't going to get to that, business where you have um, no social media presence in today's age
Mhm.
and be able to still get to the multi-million range. I think that's going to be outliers that get to that point. You can have a business, you can be profitable, you can cover your cost of living, right? Absolutely. But to get to a more notable financial mark, probably not.
Yeah, yeah. I had a conversation with a guy a few months. It might have even been a year ago at this point. But this guy is a very, very large business, and I'm always interested in like talking to like real founders in terms of how they approach marketing, just because that's sort of been my background. And I asked him, I was just like, so like, how do you guys approach marketing? He's like, oh, we don't market.
Hmm.
Like we just have enough business. I was just like, what?
And you're like, well, where did you
How
get
is
that from?
How is that possible?
Yeah.
No, it is funny though, because I think a lot of the time, these once you accrue a certain level of capital, you are able to deploy it in industries where demand is just already kind of baked in.
Yeah.
And as long as you have the right infrastructure, either that you are buying into, if you're going like the private equity route or whatever, or the proper network that you have built over time yourself, the ability to just kind of go to your network and your contact list and be like, hey, this is happening. Do you want to be a part of this? Or like, hey, like I have like this set of like 1,000 parts that need to be like shipped and sold to China. Is there like anyone over there in the factory scene that like can do this? You run into a situation where marketing isn't so much of a thing. And again, you run into a situation where this main street owner doesn't have to do too much of the marketing because the demand is already built in. And I think it seems like money Twitter seems to fetishize
Hmm.
a situation where they don't have to do marketing, because
Yeah.
everyone understands that the algorithm is sort of like a necessary evil,
Hmm.
and like they dream of not having to like deal with that
Yeah.
over a long period of time.
Yeah, for
So-
sure. I've seen it in quite a few engagements or comments online. People too also trying to figure out, especially with today with AI, trying to figure out how they can automate certain parts of their business. And one of the highest or most in demand things people want to automate is the marketing. That's like the necessary evil that most people are trying to get away from. They're like, I just want to do the business functions. I don't want to have to actually sell the product or like bring it
Yeah.
out to the world, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of conscientious people, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself here, could be, but I think a lot of conscientious people who are good at marketing and get very good at marketing get to a place with marketing where they start to realize that, in a way, it's all kind of emotional manipulation
Mm.
to one degree or another. I think less so in B2B, but even in that realm, it is a little bit of selling like a story. It's a little bit of like targeting your prospects like fears,
Mhm.
amplifying those up so that your solution is the solution to their problem.
Yeah.
And I think as time goes on, especially if you're in B2C, that gets to a place where you're like, damn, I'm like not actually solving things. I'm just scaring people into
Yeah.
my product. And I think that's a big reason why people are moving so much in the direction of wanting to automate so
Mhm.
much of their marketing, because once you get to a certain level, you either have to kind of choose to turn off your brain and be like, okay, this is just like the name of the game, and I'm very good at marketing, so let's go ahead and do this.
Yeah.
Or be like, okay, is there a way where I don't have to look at this and I don't have to deal with it because of the reality that it is just like emotional manipulation, and not in a bad way. It's a necessary evil, right?
Yeah. I mean, so long as, I mean, it's a lot easier when your product, is actually what your
Mhm.
client needs,
Yeah.
right? If it's genuinely the best thing in the market and like they're missing out and their life is lesser than because they don't have it, right? Then yeah, you want to market it. Most people, I think,
Are not there.
are not quite there. They know there's some other competition. Maybe there's superior products out in the market. And then that's where like now their conscience comes into play and starts to try and like hold them back on some of the marketing messages. Cause they're like, is that right? You know?
Yeah, for sure. You look at someone like Alex Becker, for example, like his marketing on the front end of like his YouTube thumbnails are really out of pocket sometimes.
Mhm.
But for something like that, I can see as a business owner being able to be like, okay, look, I'm going to be really loud on the front end because I know Hyros does the thing
Yeah.
on the back end. And I know it does the thing so much so that I'm willing to give like a 2 or 3 month like refund or like no questions asked. I can't remember exactly what it is, but his whole thing is don't offer a refund unless you're that sure that it works.
Mhm.
Or excuse me, offer a refund as long as you're 100% sure that it works. Don't offer a refund if you're trying to like beg people into like buying your thing. And with Hyros, it's either hey, look, we're going to bring you back this much of an increase in revenue or whatever
Yep.
by a certain amount of time, or your money back,
Mhm.
and that's it. And as a result of that, it allows him to rationalize the marketing on the front end that's like really loud and like really in your face and like really like I don't want to say aggressive. It's just kind of like for fun,
Mhm.
um, because he has the product on the
Yep.
back end. But so many guys do the aggressive marketing on the front end and don't have the product on the back end, which
Yeah.
is I think maybe why they fetishize this type of story where they don't have to do the marketing or automate the marketing
Yeah.
altogether. Shall we quickly jump to the next one before Guy gets here?
Yep.
Okay, this is a good one to kind of quickly run through. So this is a good example of a guy who leads with like very very aggressive marketing. Questionable whether or not there's a back end product. Love you, Yegor. Don't take that the wrong way. Why negative reviews are better than 10 out of 10 reviews. What you should do is create fake negative reviews of your own product. Make them slightly unhinged and clearly written by an idiot. This product is a scam. It requires actual work to get results. Gave this 1 star because the guy who made it is arrogant on Twitter, which I guess is my my criticism of him. Maybe he's talking about me. Now, real prospects will read the negative reviews and think, "Wow, the only people who hate this are lazy idiots." Your fake bad reviews become social proof that your product works for serious people, not gooners. Lesson. What do you think?
I mean, controlling the negative narrative on your own product seems fair. I don't know if it's the best, like the most ethical practice of like coming out and doing that. Something seems. I mean, again, this is kind of plays into the slightly manipulative marketing, right? It's a piece of that.
Yeah, I
I think it can. I would. I don't know how I feel about it. Like it could work, right? But at the same time, it's like you're gonna go giving yourself 1 stars to try and like to try and prove a point or to try and drive something, or is this guy not doing that and he's just trying to tell other people, hey, this is a genius strategy, and go start giving yourself 1 stars and like write your own bad reviews so he can like just make his competitors basically just start to diminish their online
this is his
reputation.
like 4D
Yeah.
chess move.
Yeah, just like, oh yeah, here's the best strategy. Go like give yourself a
Go
one
give yourself
star.
a
Yeah.
bad review.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no. So this is kind of what I think here. I think that with marketing tactics like this, you kind of potentially run into 2 problems.
Mhm.
The first is that you the only type of person that this really like works on is like someone who's ultimately not very sophisticated, right? Like if someone reads that type of review
Mhm.
and they're like a serious like B2B like business owner, they're gonna look at it and be like, oh, okay. Like it's not I don't know if it's necessarily going to psyop.
The deciding factor for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I just don't know if it necessarily pushes the needle forward enough where they're like, oh, you know what? Like
Mhm.
fuck, like this is for me. Like
Yeah.
if this requires work, like I work. Like that's something that like a B2C like beginner, like someone who buys like an Alex Hormozy course
Mhm.
because they're like really excited about like making money online, or Tony Robbins course or whatever. That
Mhm.
to me is like the type of marketing that works for them,
Yeah.
right? And if you find yourself in a segment of the market where you have to use these types of marketing tactics in order to like make sales, again, I just think it's probably a pretty good indication that your product isn't that good and you're selling to unsophisticated people, which requires you to basically do marketing that is based on things other than truth,
Mhm.
which that sounds a little corny, but like I think it's a type of energy that you bring to business as well that I think
Yeah.
is a reflection of like the energy that you bring to your life. And I read this and I think to myself, God, this sounds like an exhausting way to live.
Yeah, totally. It's just like absolute bottom of the bucket. Like let's just scrape out like what's the marketing tactic I can do to try and get these people to convert for me?
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, I think at the end of the day, can you participate in business? Can you participate in marketing with this type of energy? Is this type of energy predominant online, yes.
Mhm.
But I just, I don't know. Maybe getting back to that first post that we were talking about, what it is that you're optimizing around in terms of like energy. I just, I don't know if adopting this type of archetype online and aiming for the cars, aiming for the watch at the expense of everything else is necessarily like a very enjoyable way to live. And I would say that kind of objectively, not just for me. I
Yeah.
just don't think people can live a very fulfilling lifestyle that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of gone that direction though, where it's a little bit of a sell your soul type thing to just, and just it's okay, like don't really worry so much about your reputation, but just go out and like chase the dollars, like get paid, especially in it seems a little bit more aggressive in some of the seedy stuff that you'll see on like X and Twitter, even even back like money Twitter, even when it was like peak money Twitter. There's some
Ukrainian
seedy
arms
stuff
dealers.
going on. Yeah,
Yeah.
things like yeah.
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 Okay, cool. So I think we have time for one more post potentially. Actually, before we go to that post again, I just want to kind of talk and also wait for this guest. I'm curious with what it is that we're building out here. Are you, and I didn't actually get the chance to properly ask you this yesterday.
Yep.
Are you wanting to bring back like original money Twitter like vibes, or like do you what do you see this being? Do you want to bring back bronze tier racism?
Bring it back. Did it really leave?
Well, I think there seems to be a bit less of it because
Yeah.
it has become a little bit. I don't want to say corporatized. Corporatized is the wrong word because everyone is still kind of operating with their like sovereign
Yeah.
like vibe or whatever. But people seem to have tried to clean up their copy at the very least because they feel like they want to sell to like a more like legitimate audience or something. I don't know. So I don't know. It'll be interesting because we have claimed this title. So I'm just curious what direction you feel like you want to go with this.
The direction. I mean, this was you taking the charge
That's
on this
true.
one. I was originally thinking, let's go a different direction where we carve a new lane that has no ties or names,
Has no baggage.
no reputation already associated with it, and you're just like, I love baggage. So,
Well,
you're like, bring the traumas. Let's do it.
let's bring it on and see kind of what ends up happening. So in the meantime, let's hop over to the inaugural guest actually of the Money Twitter broadcast. What's going on, Ashok? How are you?
I'm good, man. I didn't know there was such a professional platform. I would have found my better place to place.
No, you're great, man. This
you look great
this
there.
is the exact type of vibe that we want from the guests coming in. Where are you calling in from?
I'm here in Hong Kong. It's pretty chilly out here today, so you can see I'm all try to stay warm. There's a heater on, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, nice, cool,
nice.
cool. Yeah, it's a little bit warmer. Yeah, we're down here in Bali, so it's a little bit warmer down here, but it's raining all night, raining and crazy thunderstorm and stuff. So,
right.
Well, that's great, man. I'm really glad that Centeri put us in touch. This is my co-host, Connor. I'm Jesse.
Hey, nice to meet you, man.
So the thing that we'd love to get into is maybe just give us a quick a recap of who you are, what your company is, what you focus on, and we'll go from there.
Sorry, my camera is shaking and all that, whatever. But hi, I'm Ashok. Very nice to meet you, Connor and Jess. Thanks for having me on the show. I've been technologist since, I've been a product guy since a child. I used to build things out of stone. I grew up in India, in Delhi. I used to build things out of stone, paper, everything all over. But and it was in the late 90s when all .com things and Y2K, India was big into exporting programmers. So one thing led to another. I was studying science at Delhi University when I got a big scholarship to study software, become a programmer. I became programmer by default. To be honest, I wasn't one of the greatest programmers back then because I was more of a product guy, but I became programmer and I became good at it actually eventually. And then one thing led to another. I was in Singapore. My first job, I built world's first fully automatic video editor for a company called Movie. still it there. Then I left Singapore to decided to, because I wanted to build more things on my own. So I decided I'll go and find an MBA, and I'll find a lot of people who want to build businesses. So I'll do the tech, they will do the business part. It'll be fun, right? So I wrote the GMAT and all that. I came to Hong Kong, got into HKUST. I won several pitch competitions as a startup, like a handyman app and all of that. But none of my classmates actually were very excited about startup, especially tech startup. And so it so happened that I got recruited to a company called Goldman Sachs, and when I had no clue what that company was, I'm from a technology, and then my classmate told me that it's an investment bank, it's a big company. And when I saw my check or my what do you call offer letter, I was like, yeah, that I like that money, all right. So but it didn't last very long, as in like I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I accidentally ended up founding a company as a solo founder. I built a product called EasyCube, which was built off open source software called XBMC back then and Kodi right now. It was accidentally, I mean, I just put it there because I built something for myself. I wanted to keep my movies, music, all that in the same place. And so ended up friends suggesting, why don't you put on Indiegogo? I'm talking about 12 years ago. Okay. So I just put it on Indiegogo, and somehow people gave me $250,000. I'm like, damn, how did that happen? Right. So now I had to quit Goldman and pursue that. I shipped 3 odd thousand of those devices. It is pretty good. If I could share the screen, you could see that how cool that device was. I was so proud, and I recently saw somebody else coming up recently on Kickstarter, similar thing. And then I shipped those units. And apologies if I get long-winded. Please stop me anywhere you think that.
Yeah, we'll jump in if we feel like we need to cut you off. No, you're doing
Yeah, this
good.
is
No,
great,
it's
though.
cool,
This is
it's cool to hear it. Solar Cube, quick on that. You're saying it's a cool product. Yeah, so like describe what that is real quick, and then we'll move
It's
on.
like so I was big in Lego as a kid. I used to build a lot of Lego things. It was
Mhm.
a media center. Obviously, XBMC or Kodi now is a media center PC. So I built an embedded device like this cube, which is square,
Mhm.
beautiful looking, like Apple style thing. But then the beauty was that you could stack on top of it without any wires a CD-ROM and rip your CDs and DVDs and Blu-rays, and then rip another hard drive or a Playboy or things like that. Not Playboy, the
Yeah.
Game Boy.
Game Boy. Yeah, Playboy works
Playboy.
too.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, it turned out pretty well, all right. Okay, so
Okay,
yeah,
right on.
it was beautiful looking device. People loved it. I loved building it. I have a channel YouTube still, the demo of the things that I built there. So EasyCube was it's called. I called it EasyCube, but it turned out cube when you stack a Blu-ray and a hard drive on top of it, and it was a perfect cube with a metal housing. It was so a software guy became a hardware guy. So eventually, full circle, I became a product guy. I started building products now, right? So that company was sold. Then I sat around and had no clue what to do. I got a little bit money, not a lot. It was not a big exit. And so I was making yogurt for my daughter, and a friend came and he had that yogurt. He was very impressed. It's like, where did you buy it? And I make this yogurt. Like, how do you make yogurt? I'm like, that's so freaking easy, man. What are you talking about? So I told him how easy it is, and then he gave the idea that why don't you turn into a problem? Like, that's a good idea actually. So I hacked together a chemistry lab beaker that kind of rotates the water and mixes the solvents thingy, right? And invented a device called Yomi, or patented it. It was the world's first pod-based yogurt maker, like Nespresso or what's called in the US the Keurig, like a
Yep.
pod thing. You put in there, and then it makes yogurt out of milk. It has a fridge built
Hmm.
into it, a heater, a magnetic steering. Very cool, very beautiful device. Again, I loved making it. I didn't realize that I'll become one of those guys.
And
And
at this point, were you in Singapore? Were you in Hong Kong? Where
I
were
was
you
in
at
Hong
this
Kong.
point?
I've been in Hong Kong since then. Since I came here for MBA, then the Goldman. I've been here 15 years now.
Okay, got it. So how
Yeah.
do you jump from yogurt to a pet device?
Right. So the yogurt machine was Kickstarter funded, but then COVID happened. I had it all ready to ship. We built a couple of thousand of them. We couldn't ship them all. We only shipped a few, and the company has to close down because 2 years, everything shut down. Right, our
Mhm.
Chinese factory was shut down. And then I went back like screw this, all this stuff. I during COVID, I learned, I improved. I was a C++ guy, and I wanted to improve my JavaScript and all that. So I caught up on React and everything. I became went back to software engineering. I worked for a crypto company called Rio DeFi. I built a few other crypto product and normal React product. And then the AI hit, right? I'm like, oh damn, this is crazy. So 3 years ago, almost, right? And when I first saw Chat GPT, I'm like, I gotta build something out of this, but I had no clue, and I didn't want to build hardware. I'm like, this is too long of a product life cycle, takes too much money. I want to build software, but so many ideas, and couldn't figure out that how sitting in Hong Kong, I'll be able to build a software company that can scale faster than anybody in San Francisco because the funding, the ecosystem, and all of that,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So then I decided, okay, why don't I patent? Because I was consulting to a big toy company at that time. They wanted to build a product. I was helping them materialize it in China, and so I decided I should patent a toy that talks. And basically, you press a button, or just you are in talking. Now you know the AI is everywhere, right? You have a conversational AI, right? I'm talking
Yeah.
3 years ago. I filed a patent. Nothing existed at that time, but I knew that will become like that, and so I got a patent of that. And so I wanted to do a B2B deal and license my patent and the tech. I built the product. I wanted to license it. But the company that I can't say the name, sorry, it's a big
That's
US
okay.
toy company.
Mhm.
And they did the focus group. People loved the product, but they said that, oh, we wouldn't be they wouldn't be using it for too long. I'm like, oh damn, 1 year of my thing gone. And then I was talking to, so I am in I've got a little grant from Sanjeev's company Oki.
Mhm.
So Niels is here in Hong Kong, so I know Niels for a while. And so I told Niels, and then I was gonna pivot to a robot for kids, and I did some user interviews and all that, and it turned out that people want it more for their pets than for their kids.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And then I did some more user surveys, and the use case was absolutely clear that they needed a device that is at home when they are not at home. It watches over their pet, entertains them, trains them, feeds them, makes sure they are safe, watches out on if they are scratching anywhere. And when I did look at the statistics, there in 10 years there are going to be 3 pets for every kid in this world under the age of 6. So that's a
Yeah.
lot of pets, right?
Wow.
And then I spoke to many of my friends here in Hong Kong, in the US, in India, and Singapore, everywhere, and realized actually pet are struggling, in the sense that pet parents are struggling because the insurance is very high. They can't really tell if they are not well. So I decided I'll build that. So I went on and researched, and I found an open source product which is like a ball and runs on a open source camera. And so I replicated that first, and it was super easy. Now I know a little bit of product building, physical product building.
Mhm.
And so it was super easy. And then I did some demos, and I showed it to Nils, Oki's founder, and people liked it. So I'm like, okay, then let's do it.
Hell
So
yeah.
now I'm
Cool.
building that. That's how it came about. The whole idea is that how AI can help pet parents see if their pet is okay over a period of time. We have a temperature sensor in it, keeps track of it. We have a motion detection into the camera so that it knows if the pet is scratching. So we capture all of that data, and we analyze
Mhm.
that, and we kind of a minority report sort of a scenario before, it's not a kill, but before your pet has any issue, you know it beforehand. And then it helps you find the right insurance company. So we have a marketplace to find insurance, to find your pets essentials for every day: shampoo, shower, and food and everything. That's how it came
Got it.
about.
Cool.
Nice.
Awesome. I have some media questions here. When it comes to getting the insurance for the animals, like the information that's collected from the robot, something that I was thinking when I was going through the website originally, is this information that's like accepted by the insurance? How do you get the insurance to kind of look at the data and be like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, this is stuff that we can price into, how much we're charging people for insurance?
Yeah, so I've spoken to a couple of people. Those, if in fact, exactly the people who look at the data to decide the premium of this, right? So I've spoken to those people, and then they told me, yes, that data is very useful for us, and if we provide them the dashboard of, already AI turn that data into data that they can analyze, not just the raw data, not the big data thing, right? And so they are absolutely excited about it. In fact, a lot of other companies are trying to. A friend of mine built a collar for the pet, and he did the same thing, and he's doing a pilot with an insurance company already. And insurance company actually buying their device and giving it out for free with the premium because it makes sense. So the device cost them $100 to give away, while the insurance premium that they earn is way more, because if you look at it, the product lifetime value of product for a pet is about 10 years. For a dog, the life is about 10 years, and they are like kid all along, right? So you need that device to watch them over all that 10 years. You need insurance for all that 10 years, their food for all that 10 years. It's almost the same for 10 years, very consistent. So very dependable, and except their health. And so insurance companies are very excited about it, the ones that we have spoken to.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
This almost sounds like the in a positive way. It sounds like what Pets.com was trying to be back during the .com bubble, but this seems like it's actually significantly more more centralized and more sustainable over time, because again, it's the insurance policy that's needed, it's the food and the marketplace and everything in one place. I'm curious, with the sensors that you use in order to kind of figure out how an animal is feeling. Is this what are the main markers to determine, like, if there's a problem with the pet? Is it really just like the temperature of the pet? Is it like, is the pet limping? Like, what are some markers?
So we spoke to a few vets, right? So we talked to them, and then they said that if you could count the breathing pattern of the dog, like, okay, how can we count the breathing pattern of the dog if they are not wearing anything like a Fitbit or Apple Watch, right? So they say, well, actually, most of the pet just look at, because pets breathe differently than how we breathe. They all almost, especially the dogs, they breathe from the mouth. They don't breathe from nose like we humans do, right? So when they breathe from the mouth, their belly moves. So they basically count the belly for 10 seconds, and they guess how much. So they suggested us we should do that. We should count their breathing. Of course, then we should count their temperature, and motion detection tells us if they are scratching, which part of the body they are scratching. They told us we should take periodic photos or videos of their nose and eyes. If they are watering, these are the markers that tells us. And of course, the breathing part and their anxiety. You can actually you tell if your dog is anxious, if he's circling around and restless a lot. So these are the things that AI now can do, instead of we actually hard coding it, that if the dog moves 10 steps forward, 10 steps back, that means he's anxious. We don't need to do that anymore. We just save that video or the feeds of images and sounds and everything, and then we pre-train an AI that these are the conditions that met, then that means this, right? So this is the product that could only be built now and not before, because AI wasn't there, right? And then we have we train the robot in the parent's voice. Again, only AI can do now, so that it can engage the dog. If AI expect that the robot expect they're anxious, that it engages the dog and make them move around with the laser pointer that we have in our robot, and a food dispensing mechanism that we're working on to reward them. And then because it's talking in the parent's voice, so it's more engaging for them. So all of this comes together. If there was no AI, we couldn't have built that product. 4 years ago, you couldn't have this product. Works like the way it's now. Just like,
that's interesting. It's all stacking up, right? All the different technological advancements coming together here.
Correct. Just like you couldn't wipe code 4 years ago at all. Like, this is how it is. It's AI now.
Yeah. Now the dog's gonna be all confused. Like, wait, is my owner here? Like, who's this little like
This
metal
mini robot
this little mini
owner?
robot like owner? Like, how did you channel him?
Correct. To be honest, we don't know how will it respond. We will see when we
Yeah.
start do a field test. It could freak them out probably,
Mhm.
or it could really work very very well. Or we have to see that don't over communicate using the robot. Just simple commands perhaps
Yeah.
will work better. But it all time will tell. That's product building, right? You test it and you figure it out and tweak.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. Are you thinking with this that they're going? I mean, the robotics industry is clearly growing. It's going to be one of the next $1 trillion industries, right? Obviously, humanoid side of things, and then your robot wouldn't be what would it be classed as? The robot, is it just robotics or like
It is.
yeah?
So if you look at typical definition of robot, is different
Mhm.
from what people imagine in their head, right? People imagine a robot like a walking human in a tin can,
Yeah.
right? But that's not the definition of a robot. Robot is a device that moves around, accomplishes a task, and things like that. So it is definitely a robot. So it has all the sensor. It doesn't have physical hands per se, but you can call it as a physical leg that it moves around, right?
Mhm.
And what's coming into the robotics? See, Nvidia has invested so much money in training the real world scenarios and building a sort of a neural network of what the whole world looks like, right? And then the Zumba had a deal with Amazon for a $1 billion sellout, which didn't really happen because some deal fell apart. But it was because the Zumba has all this data of the houses, of the layout, not the whole house per
Mhm.
se, what is happening, right?
Yeah.
Now, you look at it, we are doing all this for the human. What about the pets? What are we doing for them? Like I said, there will be more pets in your houses than the children. And when the
Mhm.
children will grow up, that means there will be even more pets than actual humans, right? So what about
Mhm.
pets? Because that's where the money goes. Here in Hong Kong, we had a rabbit who got sick. We had to spend $2,000 just to visit a vet. That's how expensive
Mm.
it gets here.
Yeah.
When I told my mom, she joked that we will just, leave it in the
Yeah. She's
jungle.
like, what?
Yeah, it's
Sounds
not
like a
the
joke my mom would make.
exactly. So we are positioning ourselves as a AI for pets, including the physical devices, the software, the layout, the how dogs behave in a human environment, in a house, and things like that. It's not an outdoor thing, not yet at least, but for
Mhm.
indoor, how do you manage your dog? How the dog perceives your house? Which corners he likes, which he doesn't like, what he doesn't, things like that. So we are taking all that data and building this AI for pets.
Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious. Part of the reason I was really excited to have you on the show is because again, you're up in Hong Kong, right across the street, basically from Shenzhen.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious. I mean, based on like where your project sits, based on what you're seeing from other founders up in that general geographic location, what are people most focused on when it comes to AI robotics? Like where is the industry going? Where's all the money kind of flowing towards that you've been seeing?
I mean, to be honest, I am not really plugged into China market so much. Like it
Uh-huh.
is across the border, but that border is a pretty sealed up border in a sense
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
for sure.
things back and forth very easily, except maybe apples and breads and things that you
Hmm.
buy. So I wouldn't be able to tell you more about that because I'm not based out of Shenzhen. I'm based out of Hong Kong. And even in Hong Kong, in my until before COVID, when I was doing Yomi, I was pretty plugged into the whole startup ecosystem.
Hmm.
But after COVID, I went back to sort of a job market, and I have a job and I have this product at the same time going on. And the reason is I have realized of 10 years of building hardware, first of all, building startups is hard. It takes a
Hmm.
lot of work. And building a hardware startup is even harder because of the time it takes for product development. Everything that you build is at minimum 18 months long. If I was to build a SaaS, I can build in 2 months. Now with the vibe coding, perhaps in 2 weeks. But
Mhm.
there is no shortcut in hardware. This whole process of designing PCB, printing them. So
Yeah.
and but to go back to your question, that I don't know, to be honest, what is happening in Hong Kong in terms of startups who are
Yeah.
building what. When I was building, there were few companies they were building. Many of them went out of business because the market didn't work out. I have few still friends who are doing very, very well. One of them is building headphones for kids. He's doing pretty well. He's in CS this year. He invented something to nothing with AI, but you plug in, you sort of stick something onto the headphones and it downloads that content from the cloud.
Mm.
So,
Yeah,
so
very
I
cool.
couldn't answer the question per se. But
That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's
No,
okay.
that's all good.
A bit of a sorry, just really quick, just one quick follow up question. I am kind of curious if you're not sourcing the hardware out of Shenzhen. Again, this is coming from someone who knows nothing about like the physical manufacturing industry. Where did you end up finding the factories or the physical manufacturers to
Oh.
actually take care of the parts?
Oh, sorry. Then I misunderstood your question. Of course, we're building in Shenzhen, not really Shenzhen,
Okay.
but further up the Shenzhen in Dongguan. But we're not doing product development much. That I thought you were talking about the ecosystem and startups and things. Definitely, if you're building a hardware, Hong Kong is the best place to be because Shenzhen is just across the border. You can buy all the components. I get things very fast. I get things done very, very fast. Factory turnaround is almost in one day. I can get everything. If I go there, just same day I can get PCB done, hardware done, housing,
Wow.
scaling, everything done. So that way, yes, definitely. We are building in Shenzhen, and everybody who builds hardware product, if they are not here in Hong Kong or in Shenzhen, I don't know how to do it. It's very hard to do.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So hardware is harder unless you're in Shenzhen. Unless you're in Shenzhen. I mean, despite, even in yeah, or easier there. Yeah. Yeah. So you're not VC funded, right?
Not yet.
Here? No, not yet. Yeah. Okay.
Is that the goal eventually?
Yes, we're gonna do a little bit more of user trials and understand better, and then we definitely going out, and because we pivoted just about a few months ago, so it wasn't the right time, the Christmas, the whole holiday season, and everything. So now we're hitting the people are coming back to work. So then we will go out and look for what we want, and we're gonna figure out our pitch to VCs. When we know our pitch, but I need to make a pitch deck, and all of that thing has to happen. I was focusing on product and trying to try to get a Kickstarter launch in next few weeks. So that's our first goal.
Nice. That's
Right.
cool.
It's just as a something that really blew me away the other day. I had to create a pitch deck within like 2 hours about 2 weeks ago. Notebook LM, man. There's a single button that you press and that shit comes out the other side. It's crazy, bro. It might not be like perfect to your branding, but I found that to be pretty useful. One thing that you mentioned a few minutes back about Roomba being able to have the data that maps people's homes, right? If I were buying a consumer electronic that was potentially like mapping my home, I personally wouldn't care. For me, that's sort of like the trade-off that just kind of comes with having technology in the 21st century. However, I do wonder how you guys are dealing with potential just worries on the consumer side of just having like a sensor that's essentially sort of like mapping the house or whatever, or if you're finding that in the preliminary conversations and tests that you guys are doing, whether or not this is something that people actually have any pushback on.
Oh, so right now we are not mapping anything. We're just trying to make sure the pet is safe. We want to know that, right? But we can, and whenever we do, especially because we are working with Oki, and that's their business, is the decentralized.
That's their domain, yeah.
network.
Oh, decentral. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So when we get there, then that's what we will be doing. And if we are doing it, of course, we will get users' permission to do it. Otherwise, we won't do it. Right now, it's just for the house, for pet to see that what pet is doing in which part of the house. If they find anything complicated, so we need to know.
Got it. Yeah, and just yeah, just to give you some context, Aoki is the connection between myself and Ashok. So what they do is they help map the physical world and do it in a decentralized way, so that you're not giving like all of the data over to like Google or that kind of thing. So that's interesting. That's cool. I didn't realize that was the proper connection here. That's very cool.
So then, in that sense, I guess you would be able to, via your hardware, via your robot here, have the ability to then also, not that you guys will go that route right away, but a user could potentially, depending on how you're designing it, be able to stack on, if there's an open source component to it, or be able to just stack on another like agentic open source thing inside of the robot for some other purposes, right? Potentially like scanning the plants, or seeing when the plants need to be watered as well, when the dog is sleeping, right? Be able to monitor a couple other things in the household, or be able to, even as we've seen with, you've probably seen maybe this Claude bot or things coming up, if
Yeah.
you've seen that coming around, to be able to have other like business functions even through, I guess, through the GPU in the bot, potentially, when it's when the dog is sleeping,
Yeah, that's a
theoretically.
good idea. I didn't think
Yeah.
about it, but thanks for bringing it up, and I got a new
Yeah.
idea now. But
Is,
Nice.
is
There you go.
sorry, go for it. Go for it. I was just going to say, is your robot going to mine Bitcoin while the dog is asleep?
well, soon when Nvidia has the smaller GPU, probably yes, right? They are,
Right.
but to be, we are, like I said, continuously focusing on the well-being of the pet. That's our primary focus, right?
Yeah.
Now there are going to be so many robots. The Tesla is going to bring millions of them. They will go out and serve the humans, and they will probably serve the pets as well. But we want to purely remain focused on the pets' health, because, like I said, they're going to be more pets than humans sooner than later. So it's a bigger market than human market.
Yeah.
Yes, you consume
That's cool.
more, spend more, but then you spend time with a live being in your house, their health effect. When my rabbit was sick here in the house, my daughter cried, my wife cried. I'm a little more immune to that, in that sense, because women are stable. My
Yeah.
wife and kid are very, very emotional people. I'm not so emotional. So,
Cool.
so it does affect your household, and it affects, indirectly or directly affects, we humans, our own psyche. Like every American movie we watch where there is a dog left behind, people risk their life to get it out, and my wife's like, why? Until she had her own pet and realized why.
Yeah, cool. I guess one other thing here, you kind of talk about the explosion of pets to humans ratio as things are going up, and this is something that actually comes up a lot in the discussion surrounding like population collapse, right?
Yeah.
Like where we're below replacement rate. With a product like this, is there a worry that launching something like this now, or let's say in the next year or so, it sort of beats the markets to the population collapse point, where all of a sudden we're becoming saturated in pets rather than children? Like, are you worried that you're a little bit early? Are you thinking that it's like perfectly right on time? What are your thoughts there?
I think it's a pretty good time, and not because of the human, not only because of the how the human demographics are changing, but also because, like I said, this product couldn't be done a year ago. The AI wasn't there. You could build something which moves around, looks at your dog, but what are you going to do? Talk to it, and that's about it. So it's not really helping much. But now is the time. Just like you couldn't have built a large language model chat right now a year ago or 2 years, I mean 3 years ago. So that's why this is the right time to build a product like that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice.
I think I had one more question, but I just lost it.
I got one quick one.
Okay, yeah, you go for it.
Just from my own curiosity as well, is like for people who are now tuned in as you're talking about the large language models and just like the different AI that we have access to. People are out vibe coding who normally would have not had any skill set in that right in that category. For people who would have an interest in, let's say, getting into hardware but don't have the know-how yet, is there an avenue that you would see, or that you would maybe suggest or recommend people to look into if they wanted to start grasping it? Of like, hey, they've been playing around with AI long enough now that they have an understanding of some of the code and functions there, and if there would be a way to kind of transfer that over for them to step in and start creating some kind of real product?
Absolutely. I mean, we ourselves, like I said, I looked into the open source first product, first robot that I built, and then we're gonna open source our product as well. We're gonna open source our app, our firmware, and not the one that we are shipping probably, but maybe that as well, because open source product becomes even more secure when you open source them, right? So we are open sourcing them, and then the people who are thinking of building it, I mean, to be honest, it's a bit of a difficult thing. I've done it 10 years and I still find it, because there are so many things that you have to touch. You have to touch mechanical design, industrial design, the PCBA hardware design, firmware development, app development, too much going on. So for anyone to excel all of them to a production level is not possible. I mean, it's possible if you're Elon Musk, perhaps. He says he is a
Mhm.
better industrial engineer than anybody else in the world right now. That's what he says, right? But at least I'm not, Elon Musk or smart enough to excel all of those things. But I would say the small, if somebody wants to build hardware, start small, get these ESP32 boards or Raspberry Pi boards, build a small temperature sensor, which all I did, all of that I did, and then see which part excites you the most, and then go that direction. What excites me the most is the human interaction of the product to make product simple. Now it sounds cliche because Apple did it so well, but that's what it is. The
Yeah.
human life is to live well and understand what other people want, and give them and do things according to their needs. so
Mhm.
so that part I love to design the user experience, the human experience of my products, rather than get into technical things of everything. I still write the app and the firmware myself, but I don't get into too much of PCBA, electronics, or mechanical or industrial. Some sketches I do, initial sketches for them to follow. So if anybody is looking to do that, that's the way to start.
Mhm.
Look at a problem in your house that you're facing. Let's say you want to get up in the morning, want to know what the temperature is. Build a temperature sensor that 7 o'clock, puts an alarm and tells you what temperature it is and how should you dress up. Easy. Like my wife goes out and
Yep.
puts her hand out of the window to know how cold or hot it is. So you know, solve a problem at what's at home, and then that's the easiest way to start. And even if one does not want to become, take it as a profession of building hardware product, it's very soul satisfying to build products. You build something
Mhm.
that, there's a book called The Flow. Many people go build furniture, many people enjoy life by, find their flow in running, and some people find flow in building things. So building things is very, very soul satisfying. it's,
Mhm.
it's not
Yep.
software only. Software is
Yeah.
different. You can't touch it. You build something
Yeah.
with your hand is very satisfying.
That's
Totally.
great. Once you get to a place where you're ready to go to market, how do you think you'll be conceptualizing your approach to marketing, or is that something that you will hire out the expertise to once you raise?
No, yeah, hire out as in like we will hire people to do it.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
I'm not a marketing expert.
Mhm.
Yes, we already have a team that I'm trying to outsource some. I mean, fractional people that we have hired
Hmm.
to help me out with some of those things. And we have a website now. We just launched a couple of days ago. We are taking wait listing for our Kickstarter. If people sign up to that, I will give you the link. Perhaps you can put on your things. It's called ayvalabs.com, ayvalabs.com. And if you sign up there, leave your email address. When we launch Kickstarter, you'll get the whole device for $69, which is going to be a $199 product. It's only for first 100 people to get that for this price.
All right,
Nice.
awesome. Well, maybe as the final question for you, like I sent you in the group chat, if
Oh,
there are, yeah, no, I'll ask you anyway, and if the answer is no, that's
oh,
totally fine. Yeah, no,
yeah.
we're if there are three people that you either know of online or work with that do really really great work, but don't get enough attention online, is there
Well,
anyone that immediately comes to mind?
yeah, so I don't know any contemporary people, but only first name that came to my mind was Nicholas Tesla, who was so underrated for what he could achieve, or he probably had achieved in his lifetime itself. And there were a couple of old Indian mathematicians who were really, really big, who were not acknowledged for things that they did. In fact, one of them was not a scientist, but a lady who was who could have gotten Nobel Prize for photon. So in the contemporary time, I'm sorry, I don't really know. I'm not
That's
in the.
okay.
I've become a super private person now and very busy man with a child and a company and a job. But if I find something, I'll definitely message you and I'll leave a
Yeah,
video.
forward me.
Plug it in.
Yeah, perfect. Centauri at Alki Labs. That's who we'll put in as
Yes.
as the selection. Well, dude, Ashok, it's been a pleasure having you on, man. It's been a lot of fun, and good luck with the robotics. This was a fascinating conversation. I'm endlessly fascinated by physical hardware just because it terrifies me for the exact reasons that you mentioned. It's a completely different domain
Yeah.
than software. So I really appreciate you coming in, sharing your expertise. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much, boys. It was fantastic. It made my morning. I got to share some of my things. Generally, like I said, I'm a little more private these days.
That's all good. No
All
worries.
good.
Hey,
All good.
next time in Bali, I'll hit you guys up and buy you coffee.
Yeah, sounds good. Or we'll come knocking on your door if we're in Hong Kong.
Fabulous.
Not actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. All right, man.
All
Well,
right.
take care.
Bye.
Take
Have a
care.
good
We'll see
day.
you soon.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. All right. Cool. Yeah. No, look, every time I talk to someone doing physical manufacturing, I get slight anxiety.
Really?
Yeah, no, it's just
Not the opposite. Not like you want to get into it.
I
I
like
want
I,
to start tinkering with stuff. I'm gonna like.
I would love to get into it. It's just the idea of ordering a certain amount of inventory, having to plan out for like the year ahead of like how much inventory you're going to go through to make sure that you don't like sell out, which is going to piss off the customer, or you don't sell enough and you're like not profitable. Like that's
Yeah.
just a completely different ball game
Yeah.
that gives me like actual like anxiety. I would say the same thing if I was getting into supplements or like robotics or whatever.
Mhm.
It's very like when you're dealing with inventory that needs to be fulfilled, like holy shit,
Yeah.
so hardcore. Thoughts? Anything that comes to mind?
I mean, I think it's there's going to be a lot. I mean, right now there's not a lot of competition. I mean, I don't know that actually. I don't know how many people are trying to build similar things in the space. I think it's a cool lane that he's going down for sure. Going after the pets. There's when you mentioned before we got him on, we started talking about some of the marketing side of things and the emotion, right? And how about that's one of the main things that will drive consumers to purchase
People are
something.
gonna eat this up.
People will eat up trying to do something like this that can have an AI monitoring their pets, make sure that their health and everything is okay. Like they want to make sure that their babies are in good shape, right, and taken care. And then the added bonus is the insurance piece he's talking about. But the pet owners are going to just want to know, right? They're going to want to know how well their pets are doing. So I think it's like the market that he's addressing there is it's a high value one. It's interesting. I see the need for what he's bringing there. I wonder how it'll compete against when you have more generalist AI or robotics that start to come in, right? When there are some of these other ones out there that are like a little bit more like humanoid style that could maybe just have the exact same functions or ability to monitor. Now it's not just like
when the
pet, but
Tesla Optimus is already
everything.
walking around your home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. At that
Mhm.
point, it's like I don't know how you're going to compete with that necessarily. When it can go pet your dog too, and like you can just have the jar up on the counter that
And
it
you
can't
just
get.
add the app that like
Yeah.
is like the pet temperature
Mhm.
app or whatever.
Yeah, I want just because if I think about my dogs, like not now, but like that I grew up with, they're relatively like bigger dogs. I always had German Shepherds and Siberian Huskies growing up. And if this little robot was rolling around, like looking at them or scanning them and stuff, and it had treats inside of it, like it
Yeah,
was
that's a
like
good
a
point.
treat dispenser, I think they would just like they would rip that thing open and like they'd be trying to get treats. So they would need a little bit of like a seal on it or something maybe, so it can't smell, the animals can't smell, and then it like drops a little treat and then laser points it after. But
Ashok, if you're listening, you might need to add a cattle prodder to this
Yeah.
to this robot to keep
Yeah.
keep the dogs away.
a little R2D2, a little taser that comes out. And
Exactly. We're not advocating for animal abuse
No.
here. This is a family show. No, it'll be fascinating to see kind of where that goes. He's obviously a little bit earlier in the process when
Yep.
it comes to the launch. But Ashok, again, it was a pleasure having you on. That was
Yep.
a lot of fun to
Go check out his
Talk to.
Kickstarter.
yeah go
If,
check out the Kickstarter. And
Sounds like something for you.
if it sounds like if you want to get involved with hardware, Shenzhen's the place to be. Okay, so let's move on to this next post. Do you want to get this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna read it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hiring technical media buyers is completely outdated now. The e-com world has moved on from having that as a dedicated role. Now, when you're hiring for paid acquisition, you should only focus on the following: creative management, understanding why something works, speed of creative output, prioritizing briefing, giving feedback, and iterating fast. The algorithm does the targeting now, so creative is the only lever left.
I wonder, when you were doing affiliate back in the day, were you
Mhm.
doing this entirely through your personal brand, or were you guys doing paid ads? I can't remember what you told me.
Yeah, no, we weren't doing paid ads. We were. It was basically personal brand, but we kind of scaled it up through other channel through other. Like, there was a point in time, actually, like back when we were doing it, was where you could have, um, or like people are doing with like like faceless, nameless accounts now, right? So it's just having multiple channels. Like we did it through our own personal ones, was the primary one, but we also had a handful of other social accounts where we were putting out content from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So at the time, I mean, just like, and it was manually. This was before we had like any like real. I mean, we had a little bit of automation, but it was like very primitive. But we had like 40 or so Instagram accounts that we were running at once.
Wow,
Just
really?
putting content out to and trying to like build audiences to
Holy
and
shit.
driving traffic and yeah.
Okay. Well, in some ways, I think this workflow that's being advocated here, advocated for here, is very similar to probably what you guys were doing. It's just a matter of being able to put out a lot of like creative
Mhm.
and respond quickly to what works, because and this is the sense that I've gotten from everyone who's kind of posting about paid ads for the last year, probably since Andromeda came out on Meta Ads.
Mhm.
It's just there's no reason to hire someone who is proficient in the technical targeting
Yeah.
aspect of it. The broader that you can leave things on Meta Ads, the better results you're going to get, as long as you're bringing the appropriate creative to the ad campaign. And I think a good example of that is usually
Mhm.
when you were running ad campaigns, at least the way that I used to, was you basically put in, you create one campaign with one ad set that, if we're talking about like Ashok's product, right?
Mhm.
One ad campaign would talk about the benefits that you get from insurance premiums.
Mhm.
You take another ad set and you add it into like pet loneliness or something like that. You take another ad set and you talk about how this thing can follow your pet around and give it treats throughout the day, and you can communicate with
Yep.
it. Now, with Andromeda, what it seems to be the case is that you actually put all of those different messaging angles
Mhm.
inside of the same ad set, same campaign,
Yeah.
because the AI on the back end is doing all of the heavy lifting.
Yeah. The algorithm does all the work.
It's just like, hey, look, we have all of this creative. Let's try it around here, and we'll optimize ourselves
Mhm.
around like what's actually working, what's not.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
it's kind of, yeah. When I think about like my own situation, when our phones are listening to us and you talk about something, right,
Mhm.
and then shortly after you're seeing an ad, I don't know if they're set up that way in a set campaign that the advertisers are like, hey, I think it's the algorithm from these social platforms that know or are reading like, hey, this person was just talking about this or whatever. These interests are indicating that they're more likely to be purchased from this product, right?
Yeah, from what I understand, the platforms seem to have somewhere in the realm of 51,000 data points per person,
Mhm.
that they're able to make all the decisions around who they target for what,
Yep.
basically. But I do think that it's interesting that, even just a few months ago, I worked with a technical team, excuse me, a creative ads team. And the general sense that I was getting when I was working with them was that they were taking care of this technical media buying responsibility,
Yeah.
because I came to them with 300 pieces of creative
Mhm.
on day one, and they were like, "Oh, we're going to test 10." Like, okay. But like, because the sense that I was getting is that like the idea was to put out as much creative as possible
Mhm.
to test what worked.
Yeah.
But they were, I feel like, in retrospect, based on the results that we got, were kind of overselling themselves on the technical media buying side of things, which sounds like it's completely irrelevant, and not completely irrelevant, but somewhat outdated.
Yeah.
And everything is moving in the direction of creative, being
Mhm.
able to have people who can come up with interesting angles, both in scripting, execute that in some sort of visual medium,
Mhm.
either static or video,
Mhm.
and then be able to essentially track the data appropriately to figure out what's working and what's not, um, uh, to focus entirely on the creative rather than the technical.
Yeah. So quality creative and then you can scale that if you can scale that, right? Like as much as you possibly can. Right?
Yeah, and I think depending on the vibe of your brand at this point, right? Like if your brand is set up in such a way where you can really do this on the AI like slop side of things, you can scale this to the absolute moon with like the right N8N automation, or like not. I shouldn't even encourage the N8N automation. If you have the right team, you can put out like 100, 150, 200 pieces of creative a day without breaking a sweat. If your brand doesn't necessarily support that approach to marketing, then obviously that's a bit of a different thing. But yeah, creative over technical seems like the direction things are moving.
I love it. This is my era.
Oh yeah, straight up. This is your friend's era, the guy that I met at your house.
He's the
black guy.
I'm more creative than the black guy.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know his name.
yeah. He's
bronze tier racism. We're not going to get advertised. I need to chill.
Yeah, you need to chill. No. I don't know. Yeah, we'll probably get advertisers still. I mean, look at the social platforms right now. Like some of these algorithms are absolutely pumped with so much like racist stuff. It's insane.
Dude, the version of the blue bird that you sent me originally last night, I was like, yo, this is edging too far into that territory.
The freaking bot made that.
Yeah, well, listen, bot, I think you need to chill with your bronze tier racism as well.
If X comes at us by chance, it was their own creation.
Yeah,
it was straight up. It was Grok that made everything here.
Yeah, Grok worshiping Mecha Hitler. That was Grok.
Oh yeah, that way.
Yeah. See, again, it's all Grok. We take no responsibility for this. Okay, next post. Here we go. This is from the Infodon. I thought this was interesting, and I think even the back and forth that we had a little bit earlier about the growth operator thing will be interesting for people to hear. So this guy posts, if you are a growth operator, you effectively add no value to businesses, which is a very polarizing statement to make. Your sole goal is to extract value by being a useless middleman. No real marketing skills, no real sales skills, no idea how to train teams, maybe some okay fulfillment, just connecting people. If your model of making money is something that someone else can do, your job is described by one word: replaceable. And so the results reflect. I've said it before and I will say it again. The growth operators I see making money at a small level are just taking all the closing calls for their clients at a 20 to 30% rev share. Yes, it's unscalable, but it's better making $50K a month with a few shit clients than making $0 because you are useless. So again, to clarify, growth operator, won't say his name, was someone similar to who came into
from somebody you had an interaction with.
Yeah, helped scale my previous brand. And in retrospect, I ended up paying this guy $15K, and the return on investment there was 10x, right? In terms of profit too. That's like including revenue that's money paid out to other contractors and taxes.
Yeah,
just pure profit. And I think at the time, based on where I was in a place where I didn't have the appropriate network to find a high ticket sales team. Even if I did, I wouldn't know how to vet someone. And on top of that, there was just like, I don't know what it was, but emotionally, I just wasn't in a place to launch my own product, even though I had done it several times very successfully for other people. We're talking like 300K launches in 72 hours on multiple occasions, right? But for whatever reason, with my own brand, there was just like this thing inside of me that just caused me to be stuck. I almost didn't monetize. I almost ran out of money.
Consciousness came into play. You became conscious of your marketing. You didn't want to go do the marketing.
I think it was that. And I think it, as time has gone on, I've become more and more weird about like selling info. Just me personally. And that's what I sold at the time was essentially an info product. So we can get into that in a different conversation. But again, whether or not growth operators have real value to put into a company or someone that they partner with, I think is debatable.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's maybe I'm small or maybe I'm mid-curving this here, right? Maybe I'm mid-curving this a little bit because it's like if you're a growth operator, maybe I'm again misunderstanding it, but it's like saying you add no value to business. If you're actually doing the function of being somebody who comes in and brings growth, that's value.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's the point,
That's
right? Because with this growth operator that I partnered with,
yeah.
did he necessarily do the closing himself?
hmm
No. Was he the best person at crafting like a magical offer?
hmm
No. He was like, "Hey, go make the course." I made the course. I
Yeah.
made it in 2 days. I sent it to him and he was like, "This is great. This is
Mhm.
one of the best courses I've ever seen." It was not true.
Yeah.
Right? Like his incentive was to get the program out as quickly as possible, get me money as quickly as possible because then that's the box that's checked on his end.
Yep.
Right? His insight when it came to marketing was honestly like borderline terrible
hmm
kind of thing.
So some incentives were misaligned there potentially
misaligned.
regarding maybe brand reputation as one thing.
Certainly.
But maybe his like as a growth operator coming in, some of those things maybe get neglected, like the care for brand reputation of the business that you're stepping in to help. But then again, if your title is just growth oriented and that's the sole focus, and he played that role,
He did the thing.
yeah.
He 10x'd my investment
Mhm.
in terms of profit.
Mhm.
So like again, I understand what this infodon guy is getting at, and I understand the sentiment that he's generally sort of making fun of inside of the space, because a lot of these guys really do
Mhm.
say like, "Oh, I'm going to do the growth operator thing,
Yeah.
and I'm going to go partner with a content creator who has XYZ amount of followers. They've already done the hard work. They already have a good relationship with their audience,
Mhm.
and we're gonna like do this quick like cash grab scheme that again doesn't necessarily think about the longevity of like the relationship between the creator and the audience.
Yep.
And the growth operator honestly just knows someone who does sales. They know someone who does some marketing. They might have a little bit of each of those chops themselves,
Mhm.
but they're just a connector.
Yeah.
They're just a connector of people. But and again, I understand what the infodon is saying.
And-
Is there real value being provided?
Mhm.
Not really from the individual, but is the like outcome and goal that the creator wants actually happening? Yes.
Yeah. Well, then that's the exact same thing can be said for the entire info product industry, right?
Yeah, or
And-
at the very least, the affiliate industry, because like if you're
Mhm.
and I should say like affiliate service industry, right? Because if someone is getting a cut for connecting you with XYZ person and they just get like a cut of the action
Mhm.
kind of thing, does that automatically invalidate that entire business making enterprise? Not necessarily. If you're someone who works in supply chain and something breaks down in like your factory and you need to find a new factory like tomorrow, and you happen to have like the right contact who can put you in contact with that different factory in Vietnam as opposed to like Shenzhen or whatever,
Mhm.
and they make 4% on the sale, just because they didn't do anything, does that like make their connection that less valuable? It solved the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're all still solving the problem. They're all still bringing the client, right? In the affiliate side of things, you're bringing the client to the product that maybe wouldn't have happened prior to that or without the affiliate's intervention there.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the only thing there it sounds like might be coming up is through the founder's perspective or through the business operator, that there's a little bit of maybe distaste, or in this guy's example, because it's you have a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth because you don't see that the person is actually doing work, maybe. Right.
And I think this guy is probably really solid at sales, really
Mhm.
solid at marketing, that he just looks down on like growth operators who really just have the relationships that they can sort of act as affiliate marketers for,
Yeah.
essentially.
Mhm.
And he's just being like, "Hey, you guys are like replaceable and you don't actually like offer any value because I'm the one who actually has the stuff. I run it in house. So
Yeah.
work for me." That's kind of the sense that I get from this.
Totally. Yeah. And
Or
I mean,
work with me.
man, that's just like what then? That's just inefficiencies in the marketplace, right? And that's across the entire board, right? That's in commodities trading. That's in
Mhm.
everything, right? There's somebody that connects to somebody, and then there's like a cut that comes off the top of it. Right?
If I have to like buy stocks through like a particular broker and like they make a certain amount on my put,
Mhm.
what's the term? I don't even know what the term is. Like he makes some sort of thing for just like processing my transaction.
Yeah.
Or if I like go and get a coffee, like
Mhm.
Visa makes like a certain cut of like everything that's like happening. Like,
Yeah.
is that like no value?
Mhm. It's maybe what we're hopefully going to grow out of a little bit
Oh, all of a sudden,
seems
Connor
we're-
becomes
what?
critical of the value creation once it's in the realm of Visa. He's like,
no,
fuck
no,
Visa.
no. I'm just just thinking about like just global markets and just thinking about like how there is a degree of inefficiency there. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's all it looks like to me. Is just there's higher levels of friction across so many business functions that are taking place through acquisition of customers, through the actual now once the client or the new customer is actually going to purchase the product, then on the financial end, right? There's so many just layers where there's friction that doesn't necessarily need to be there, but what it's doing is it's creating this kind of like inflated opportunity for other businesses, enterprises, or individuals as growth operators to come in and kind of extract value out of the market, right?
Yeah. I think to that point, it seems like the direction that, ChatGPT and Gemini and all of these things that can really just like listen to you basically rant for like an entire paragraph. Hey, this is exactly what I need in terms of a service provider or product or whatever. And it can go and find you the, theoretically like perfect service providers that meet that bill exactly. I think that is more and more the direction that we're going, where you can just get online and find the perfect person that you're looking for. Because previously with Google was pretty good, but the main things that end up showing up in your Google feed are the people who have just played SEO to the highest level.
Yeah.
There might be someone on page 32 of your Google search that fits what it is that you're trying to do exactly, but you're never going to see them because they didn't play the SEO game.
Yeah. They've just been completely outcompeted.
Yeah. And, I think you could maybe make that same argument for ChatGPT and Gemini because it's just a layer built on top of SEO at the end of the day.
And it's going that direction with Geo and everything right now.
I think so.
Because people are trying to find ways to optimize it and like kind of hack the system in a sense of like,
Yeah. And I think this is something that's kind of playing out in the traditional SEO space and the new like GEO, like AEO space. People are coming out with products and services where they're saying, oh, like, look at all these great things that we can do to optimize you in GEO results. And then the veteran SEO people are looking at what these companies and services are doing. And they're like, bro, if you do this, you're going to nuke your company with traditional SEO because GEO is just SEO. So if you try and do like all these like kind of gray hat, black hat things that these companies are essentially espousing and saying, hey, this is what we provide, this is what we can do, blah, blah, blah. You're going to kind of nuke your results. So it'll be interesting to see where things go, and it'll also be interesting. I didn't bring this up as a tab necessarily, but it'll be interesting to see how ChatGPT ads also play out as well. They announced that last week when we weren't filming. It'll be interesting to see how much ChatGPT is listening to you across what it is that you're doing and how it serves the ads as well. From what I understand, it's not going to be like something that comes out in the actual response of like what, they're not going to mix it in with the organic response because that would piss too many people off. But it'll be interesting to see how well an advertiser can target you based on everything that you've shared with ChatGPT. And people talk to ChatGPT more openly than they talk with their therapists,
It's funny though, thinking about like, I mean, there's the different LLMs out there, but like ChatGPT specifically as it is, I think they announced, I don't know if it was last week or so, that they're talking about that they want to have, I'm not going to get this right, but they want to have like ownership, or they want to have credibility, or like they own the IP or stuff like that of things that have been developed inside of their platform, inside of ChatGPT. So if you come up with an idea, a business idea, or like here's a new product that we're going to manufacture and create, then it's like they want to have some kind of ownership or something of it, right? I'm getting it totally wrong, but
is it sort of like they want to take a cut of the pie, like the iOS, like Apple Store does, like the App Store?
I don't know if it's that, or if it's like, or like they literally are going to want to try and own the actual IP, and then basically have somebody, or like hey, you're the one who did the interactions that brought it out, and then like went in and created it, and then they're going to like, I don't know, like lease it back to you or something, or I don't know how.
That sounds scary. I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, well, they announced something along those lines that made me feel like it was going that direction at least. Yeah. And then you wonder like, okay, yeah, they're going to allow other businesses to do stuff, but ChatGPT particularly, or OpenAI, it looks like they're trying to just kind of consume the whole market. So even when they're like referring products, I wouldn't be surprised if they start like having their own affiliate.
Yeah, that's true.
Inside of it.
That's true.
You know?
That's true. Shall we hop to the next one?
Yep.
Okay, I'm actually interested to hear what you think about this, because this story seems to keep popping up over the last like couple of months. And from someone who's just probably consuming it for the first time, I'm curious to see how this strikes you.
Yeah.
Right? So this guy's name is Santiago. A couple of months ago, he posted pretty much the exact same post that you see here.
Okay.
Right? It was just a selfie of him smiling, where he was like, hey, I just, I've been, kind of building in the trenches for like 2 years or something like that. And I just made my first like $250, $500. It was something small, but he was just excited.
He was in the trenches for the last 5 years and he just made his first $500. Yep.
Yeah. And like in parallel of like, I think having a job or whatever,
Yeah.
but he was like, hey, look, I like this finally is like starting to work or whatever. He was just excited. Right. So a couple of months later,
Nice.
he also posted this. I just signed a $12,500 client. Kickoff payment is, this $2,500. It's a 2-month RAG app. So again, from where we saw him a few months ago to here, already making like a lot of progress. However, what happened last time when he popped off was a lot of people outside of the build in public space, which is, you can see where he posted this here.
Yep.
A lot of people outside of the space criticized his original post because they were like, oh, this is like the biggest loser mentality possible. Imagine like paying this guy $500 and then the next day you see him say, oh, I just made my first sale. Like you would like completely lose trust in the person that you just like sent money. Right.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what this guy is saying as well, Adrian Solar. So this might be the cringiest MF on Twitter, bro. Imagine dropping 2.5K on a guy and the next day seeing this. Without me saying anything, what are your thoughts? Are you on this guy's team or are you on this guy's team?
I'm a little. If I have to pick a team, that's tough. I mean, honestly, I love the concept of build in public. I love everything that the energy of what that is, and like just like being open about it, of what you're building. I don't know about this so much of really just saying, hey, I got my first client and then posting that. Like, yeah, obviously if you've been in it grinding or trying to get something going for 5 years, you're going to want to sell it. You're going to want to let somebody else know you finally did it. I finally did it. Right. It worked. Right. And at the same time, oh my God, like, yeah, it's not a good look when you're, when what's his name? The guy above who just commented on it. Yeah. When he comes in and he just says, yeah, dropping 2.5K on a guy and the next day seeing that, like, that's not a good look. That doesn't instill confidence. That doesn't make you feel good. If the actual client saw it, unless of course the value proposition is like, whoa, this is really what I need, and then I don't really care because it's like that, what I'm getting is like,
if any emotional marketing was used,
if there's any pinch of emotional marketing used, then you feel like you just got like fooled, right? Yeah. Like you feel like you're like, wow, I'm just an idiot. Like I just paid this. He's been trying to get people to do what I just did for 5 years, and I'm the first one to fall for it. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. This is my general thinking here, right? I think that when this guy probably first posted a couple of months ago, he was genuinely excited, and everyone like this Adrian Solars commented in because they cannot stand seeing people just genuinely be happy. Yeah. Because like when it comes to money, Twitter,
be okay with less.
Yeah, well,
maybe even if it's not less, but
it's
just
not
like
even less. It's like just have like a certain happiness, and openness to an approach, not just to business but to life. This is my probably my strongest criticism of money Twitter folk, especially like the lower echelon, like younger kids, is they go in with this Andrew Tate energy, where Andrew Tate looks at something like this and he's like, he's a fucking like brokey loser. Sorry, I should like not swear. If I need to keep remembering that. It's like, so the guy who comments and comments about it, it's like the cool kids in high school in a sense, like who just think they're it, and like you're like, oh, like just don't show anybody that there's any effort or anything done to making like $1 million. Yeah, right. Like that's more the energy is like, oh, I didn't even like I just woke up and like boom, made $1 million. Like that's what they want to portray, and like anybody who's not in that category of operating system is a loser in their eyes. Yeah, right? or at the very least, like it's almost like business is like the art of war kind of thing, and anything less serious than that is automatically cringy. Now, my thing here is at this point, this Santiago guy
Yeah.
understands that this method of posting online
It worked.
works for him because
Yeah.
he's done it again and he's gotten a lot of views again.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. However, so at this point, this is his marketing angle where he's able to get more views doing this than anything else. And
It fucking works,
it-
right?
it- like, it
once,
works.
once you find something that works, it's like double down and just keep going. Like put as much money and energy onto that thing that works, and like you can just keep compounding. Go.
That's what I'm saying.
Run, Santiago.
Like when he says, "Oh, this is like the cringiest MF on Twitter," like I can see why you might have that knee-jerk reaction the first time because like
Mhm.
a lot of people, for example, criticize the build in public ecosystem because they all kind of post in public because they're trying to be supportive of each other. But like what these more kind of edgy guys say is like it's not even like to support each other; it's to post and to pretend like you're not marketing when you're marketing.
Yeah,
That's kind of their.
It's both.
It's a little bit of both, right?
Mhm.
But I think with this guy, like regardless of what it is now, if you can get like how many fucking views? 3.3 million again.
Just popped to 3.4.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, perfect. Yeah, again, if you can get 3.4 million
Yeah.
views on something
On a
again,
for a second one. Yeah, that's fantastic.
that's your marketing.
Keep going.
It like literally, if you're this Adrian Solars guy, get fucked, man. Like
Yeah. That's
when was the
jelly.
last time you got 3.4 million
He's
views?
just-
And he
he's
probably
jelly.
did. I'm maybe I'm being an asshole. Let's actually take a look.
I don't know this guy's brand.
I don't know who it is either. Let's see.
The
27K,
Miami thing. I don't know if he's in Miami.
997, 27K, 1.1, 630, 636. Again, like no shade on Adrian Solars, whatever. But at a certain point, if the marketing is working, shut the fuck up. The marketing's working.
Mhm. And he's happy. Look
And
at
he's
him.
happy.
Look
He's
at
having a good
look at the
time.
smile on his face.
It's like
He's
it's
making money.
it's such a
He's-
loser mentality.
Yeah, he's
not him.
He's growing friends, you know,
So
even
I
though he's growing enemies too, or not enemies, but people who are just like
Frenemies.
throwing shade.
frenemies. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I had such a strong knee-jerk reaction to this. I also kind of had a strong knee-jerk reaction to it a couple of months ago when it first happened. Just because like it's just a guy being like happy. Get the fuck out of here. Who
Yeah.
cares? You know? Even if it like again, even if
Yep.
he is doing this in order to like pretend that he's just sharing a win and he's really marketing,
Yeah.
I guarantee you it's more above board than whatever emotional fucking marketing is
Yeah.
being like led by with the majority of money
Yeah.
Twitter.
You know what's an interesting thing to say on that from my own perspective? Like
Mhm.
go to his face again. Like I fucking wish I could have just been like, if I think about myself, like I have too much of the guy who's commenting on him, right?
Internally.
Internally, I
Yeah.
have like the guy who's commenting, like kind of like throwing shade. I have way too much of that internally going on for me.
Yeah,
right?
probably same.
No, for real. It's like for me, it was when I'm thinking about making, if it could have been $2,500 or something like that, and I would go make a celebratory post, right? That for me would have been it's a different world than what I had been experiencing. I kind of was at a point where I was making like, well, over $250,000 a month, and I fucking was like embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
Like it's literally just it's a weird like operating system, right?
Mhm.
Rather than like you just go and like 100x that, and it's like, you know, it's not enough still, right? So there's like that mentality which I've been in, and it's like I wish I could have just like I want to try and be more like this guy, to be honest. I think I'm gonna go, if I go make $1,000 or something like that, I'm just gonna be like, check me out, baby,
Yeah.
made a G.
Yeah. No, like for
Right?
real. I
Like
don't
have
know.
more fun with it. Like why are we trying to be all serious and like think we're, you know,
Yeah.
like business needs to be all fucking suit and tie and stuff.
This might be too large of a statement, but I really do think that like Andrew Tate like seriously royally psychologically like fucked up like a lot of guys in this space. And I don't just say that
Mm.
because I'm like trying to like look into something that like
Yeah.
isn't there. Like I keep seeing posts of people who commented about like, oh, is like money Twitter like still a real thing?
Yeah.
And then the comments that are coming up below are like, oh yeah, when Andrew Tate went super, super, super viral,
Mhm.
it fucked up the space.
Hmm.
And I think this is partially why, right?
Yeah, it's kind of made guys not be friends anymore, not be family, like which is kind of what
Yeah.
the build in public is doing. It's bringing back more of like the community. It's bringing back more of like the friends, family. Like fuck it, let's just play around and like try and make things work, and like we celebrate each other and blah blah blah. Comparatively to that, everybody just trying to be siloed in their own lanes and like build up their own empire and try and like do the big dick comparison game of like, I got this, like, oh, this guy only had, you know.
It is kind of funny. It's just kind of high school again.
Yeah.
It's just like the high school cliques.
Yeah.
which is funny. You'd think we'd all grow out of this.
I joined the build in public. I haven't posted anything in there because I haven't been building much in public yet.
Well,
but now we get
turn
started.
around and take a selfie of us. And
Yeah,
be like
yeah,
this, and
build in
we'll post
public.
something. In
Yeah,
there,
let's do it.
and we'll be the cringe ones. All right, cool. This next one comes from Mubu, Wiz of Ecom, cool guy to follow if you're interested in like personal branding stuff. His whole thing that he's trying out right now. I'm restarting my account, 0 followers, $0. I'm going to take you all on a journey to building it back up as if you never knew who I was. In a 180-day time frame, I will have over 10,000 followers and have generated a couple $100,000, all with this single roadmap. If this was really, this is how I do it again.
Love it. This
So,
is dope.
Yeah,
Because I'm in the same spot right now. Nobody knows who I am.
yeah,
So let's go.
yeah. So his approach here, once when he's in the category of like less than 500 followers, his content strategy is going to be 2 story-based long-form videos a week, 2 technical authority posts per week, 3 screen share breakdowns per week, and 2 transformation posts per week before and after. And on top of this, the way that he's going to build relationship stuff is he's going to be DMing 3 new followers a day, asking what they're working on, reply to every comment with questions, engage on followers' content daily, and take convos to calls whenever possible. And I think the reason I thought this was interesting
Mhm.
is whenever you're in the space of like starting a new brand, especially the relationship building stuff goes a lot farther than you actually think.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because the psychology of the follower on the other side, who's following you and like all of a sudden gets a DM from you,
Yeah.
it feels like you're talking to a regular person much more than if I were to DM one of my followers.
Yeah.
Right. There's like this weird element of celebrity. There's this weird association with like, oh, I'm probably just talking to like one of his setters on a sales team or something
Yeah.
like that. Whereas when you're small, you're like, oh, the person's like actually talking to me, which
Yeah.
is kind of a pleasant surprise.
Hmm.
Right. And I think the approach to strategy as well, doing story-based, focusing on technical, doing breakdowns, and doing transformations as well. I think something that I'm guilty of is just doing, which ones would probably do? Probably breakdowns. Like, for example, with my previous brand, Anti-Profit, it was just all breakdowns. I didn't do many authority posts. I didn't do many story-based long forms. And like what transformation would I even post about on Anti-Profit? You know what I mean? It just wouldn't even be like appropriate.
Yeah, you were just like, burn it to the ground.
I'm just like, yeah,
You're
burn
like,
it to the
burn
ground.
it
There's
to-
nothing to transform. Actually, let's transform it in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to move on.
Okay, do it.
Okay, sorry.
I'll come back to this on my own.
Yeah. Unless you want to keep going.
No,
with it.
no,
Yeah.
it's I mean, well, yeah, people can check it out. Go check out
Yeah, it's
Mubu.
yeah.
Or like, yeah, I mean, yeah, he can't tell us though. He can't tell anybody. He can't plug his new account, so we won't know it until he's done it.
You know what? Actually, let me stick on this a little bit longer.
yeah.
I think this is useful. So, in the second stage, couple of steps. Create a list of 100 facts your audience has about getting results from what you offer. This is something that I was playing around with inside of 2025. And I think when coming up with that list previously in like 2023 or 2024, when I was doing it myself, I would literally sit down and write through like the different facts of like things that I could post to educate XYZ person on whatever offer I was trying to put out, right? But at this point, all you have to do is put in your ICP, like a paragraph description of your ICP, sort of like we've been exchanging the last couple of days. A description of what your offer is. If you have the copy to your landing page ready to go, that's a perfect like starting place for that. You plug all of that into, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, whatever. And then like you can literally just ask it for the top 100 facts. And every time I've done this, I've actually been really surprised at how insightful the questions are, especially if you ask for those 100 questions that you can ask, and you ask your AI of choice to rank it based on what is going to be the most important question in the mind of one of my customers to have answered. When it goes through and does the ranking, just from my own ability to assess like good taste and like whatever I go through, and I'm like, oh, damn, this is like 99% there.
Yeah.
So that's already taken care of. And that's 100 videos, 100 posts, 100 whatever, ready to go right from the get-go. Then from the next part, answers those facts. Maybe this might be useful for you. I don't know if it might be, but the way that I was consulting clients last year
Mhm.
on doing this was, instead of sitting down or even like trying to go back and forth with ChatGPT and like in a chat context to like fully script things,
Yeah.
is I would just take the question
Mhm.
from step one and I would put it into the chat box, and then from there I would hit record
Mhm.
and I would just answer the question.
Yep.
And then from there, I have like a specifically crafted prompt that says, hey, take the question that I have above, take the answer that I have above, and recontextualize it for an Instagram reel, recontextualize it for an X post, recontextualize it for a LinkedIn post.
Yep.
And that prompt would generally have an example of what I was trying to emulate, like some style prompts, some length prompts, all of those different things. Boom. Out comes a script that is like 99% ready to go. You scan that script for 15 seconds, change a few things here or there, you're off to the next video.
Yeah.
To me, that's like the fastest way of doing that at this point. From here, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6 is pretty straightforward. Create content series around specific value tied to your offer. The reason specifically I think I wanted to get into this is that there are ways of doing step 1 and step 2, which are the hardest things to do at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you, within 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
If you just take
conversationally
and you allow yourself to hit record, and you allow yourself to say, to pause, to make mistakes, because ChatGPT is smart enough to come in and fix all of those mistakes that you made, to be able to understand what it is that you're saying. And from there, crafting the right kind of prompt to take care of step 2. You do that once, spend 10 minutes on the prompt, going back and forth with ChatGPT until it's like kind of perfect, and you're done. You just use that prompt into infinity. So again, if you're looking to build like a personal brand, we have actually spoken about Mubu here on the channel before. Great, good stuff. Go check him out. Wiz of Ecom. This is a useful resource. All the resources that he posts on the page are good. Should we go to the next one?
Yeah.
Oh, this one. I'm curious to get your thoughts.
Did you just, like you just, gross. What did you just watch?
So this is from Lulu. She posted. Let's go ahead and watch the video, and then we'll see if we can make an assessment of it. This is about the TikTok new CEO saying users can say that they are proud Zionists, but using the term Zionist in a negative sense is hate speech, and accounts are being banned for it. Let's take a listen.
We made a change to designate the use of the term Zionist as a proxy for a protected attribute as hate speech. So if somebody were to use Zionist, of course you can use it in the sense of you're a proud Zionist, but if you're using it in the context of degrading somebody, calling somebody a Zionist as a dirty name, then that gets designated as hate speech to be moderated against.
I feel like if this policy would have been there a few months ago, I would have gotten more views on my TikToks. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. We'll keep watching.
Over the course of 2024, we tripled the amount of accounts that we were banning for hateful activity. We also have, I think, over 24 Jewish organizations that are constantly feeding us intelligence and information when they spot violative trends. There is no finish line. There's no finish line to moderating hate speech, identifying hateful trends, trying to keep the platform safe. There's no such thing as an end game.
Okay. So this is obviously like,
Bro,
yeah. Well,
there's no finish line. It's never ending. We're always going to censor and control everything that's going on.
Well, part of the reason I wanted to bring this up is you and I might have some diverging opinions here, right? I think this is probably edited in order to make it sound as horrible as possible, just because like, I think these probably took place at different parts in the conversation, but it's like, let's put it into one clip with white fade in, fade out so that it sounds like as unhinged as possible.
Yeah.
Right. But the general sentiment, I'm curious what you think about like whether this is happening on Twitter, whether this is happening on TikTok, like let's say the vibe of trying to police hate speech on platforms. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, it just sounds like a huge double standard to me. but and then like where does it? He's saying there's no finish line, so where does it stop, right?
Mhm.
And like where does it? Where does that principle continue across the board, or does it only apply to certain demographics of people? Is kind of what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. There's like the kids YouTube or something like that, where it's like maybe you can't see the rest of the internet and what's actually happening, and it just sounds like if there's a never ending, no finish line to what they're trying to do here, what they're talking about, it's a police state, it's a controlling, it's a hey, you cannot talk about this or see this, and like if this word is used, it needs to be used in this context, and like wow. Like, how is that going to be controlled and measured? And like that just basically sounds like setting up a right to cancel or control or whatever to any person that they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I zoomed in here because I wanted to see if this was being
Trying to find their names or what?
well, not the names. I wanted to see if this looked like it was being presented at some sort of Jewish conference, because like the way that he's talking, it sounds like it's like specifically catered for a Jewish audience. You wouldn't like go to like some general corporate thing and be like, oh, like, and say all this stuff, but like zooming in, the World Jewish Congress.
Okay.
So like, you know, it's obviously for like a pro Israel, pro Jew. I want to say pro Jewish, but that doesn't sound right. Pro Judaism conference, right? So whatever, you gotta speak to the crowd that you're in front of. My thinking is here. And again, the only reason I'm bringing this up on this channel is because I think a lot of this type of thing is on people's minds inside of this space.
Yeah,
people want to be able to post whatever they want and like just be able to live their lives, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that sentiment. I think there's some usefulness to being able to just post whatever you want and not have to like overly censor what you're saying. I remember a couple of years ago with Anti-Profit, like I went through a period of time where I was getting videos kind of like dinged.
Like people sending you things?
No, not that. I had videos flagged and taken down.
Oh yeah,
a lot just because of like what I was posting or whatever.
Now if you just continued on that though, you'd be doing really very well.
Yeah, no, I mean after Trump's election,
they love it.
Yeah, after Trump's election, I was able to post like whatever I wanted, and it was like no problem. So you know, it was certainly nice on that front. The thing that I'd say here is that I think the way that the algorithms work at this point is if the algorithm is only optimized to show you what it is, if it's only optimized to show you exactly what it is that you want to see in that moment, not even what you want to see that plays to like your better angels, it's whatever it is that you want to see in order to keep you on the platform for as long as possible.
Yeah.
That essentially becomes like casino economics. And then as a result of that, the algorithm is incentivized to show you whatever will inflame you emotionally, whatever will get you to be like, oh yeah, that's totally right, which is just kind of echo chamber politics.
Totally.
Right. And I think if that's kind of the case, everyone is participating with social media saying like, well, like, look, the best defense against bad speech is more speech, right? That's something that people say. It's just like, if there's a bad idea, like we should be able to talk about.
Why have I not heard that?
I don't know. It's a Joe Rogan thing. Like that's
Okay.
something that he says a lot of the time is like, you know, the best defense to bad speech is more speech.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you are in a place where the algorithms are just putting different kinds of bad speech in front of everyone and no one is actually like talking to anyone in any real way. I wonder if the sentiment of coming in and trying to curb some of the speech that is actively created in order to just build a tribal mentality, in order to get that creator as big as possible or to get whatever politician as big as possible or whatever. If there is maybe sort of a middle ground that might be useful, because the more speech is the best defense against bad speech, is obviously not working. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are your thoughts?
I think I lost a little bit of context, to be honest, with that, with the more speech in relation to this, like into like how exactly you're trying to say with it.
Sure. So the free speech
Yeah.
absolutists would look at this video and say, well, this is retarded. Like we shouldn't be banning any speech because
I lean
like
that
free
direction
speech.
a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
even so, in the context of everyone just kind of getting like fed like their own nonsense, in the context of that being something that's potentially pulling society apart, that's my question. Is if everyone is like participating in free speech, but their version of free speech is really just the shadow in the cave in Plato's cave, where it's not like actual reality. It's just like the shadows of like what's going on. And everyone is looking at the shadow and being like, this is reality. And that's pulling society apart. I wonder if there is kind of a middle ground, maybe not as crazy as like what we're hearing here. I think this is, again, him kind of playing to like a Jewish audience and being like, hey, look, I'm here at the Jewish conference. I'm going to say something that plays to the audience. But I do wonder if there is a middle ground somewhere between absolute free speech and then, you know, something that's obviously Orwellian or whatever, but for the purpose of at least having like a unifying sense of reality so we can actually start to engage each other on problems that actually matter rather than just saying like, oh, I'm right without ever talking. Because the more speech fixes bad speech thing doesn't seem to be playing out very well.
That doesn't match. I think I feel like it makes sense to me though that it would, that the more speech or the free speech is the, I don't know, appropriate direction or the way things ought to be. The issue seems to lie in the siloing of certain narratives,
yes,
as you're saying,
yeah.
Right? So it's in a way, it's now
it should work.
It should work, but still somehow, yeah, it's like it's the, what do you call it? Like where everything's like distilling.
I think
right?
siloing was the perfect word.
Yeah, everything is like separating into like these separate little silos. So it's like creating a dystopian overall reality with like internal utopian reality. So it's like a microcosm of like little utopia, like this example, like in TikTok now going to be a pro-Zionist haven or something like that. That's why I guess these other social medias are starting to pop up. You saw this other one? No, there was like a Palestinian founder or something. Somebody made up another one. I think I saw just
like a different social platform.
A different social platform.
Oh,
right as this was announced, basically. I think there was another one that just went live, and I think I saw people talking about how it was going viral in Australia and some other places.
I hadn't heard of this
as a free speech platform. So like it's like people migrating there because they're like, oh, well, we can actually just say what we want to say here rather than having to bend to the owners.
But you know
requirements.
What's kind of interesting there though, because like whenever anyone says they have like a free speech platform, and there's like it's coming from a certain like tinge of things, like you're not going to see like a conservative creator on this new like Palestinian platform, just like you're not going to see someone who's like.
I mean, if it's more free, I mean, depends. I don't know why you wouldn't see them there.
But, I think it would just be the siloing, right? It's like the marketing that's actually pushing people in the direction of that platform is going in the direction of like, hey, look, we don't like that TikTok is going in this direction.
Yeah.
We're the alternative. It's obviously going to attract it. Like no pro-Zionist is going to go there and be like, oh, like great. It's sort of like a blue, the Twitter alternative. Blue sky. It's Blue Sky, isn't it?
Matches our branding right now.
Yeah, exactly. We have Blue Sky. It's very cute. But like same kind of thing. It's not like anyone with any like divergent ideologies went over to Blue Sky.
Yeah, it pulls the exact crowd.
Like the liberals.
It's that tribalism. Right?
Yeah.
It pulls their people. So like same thing, okay, so now maybe the Zionists will be more pro TikTok, and then whatever this new platform is that was like made by a Palestinian guy, if that's the case of what it is, that will be pulling people who are anti this.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. I think this is what I am getting at is the siloing of people and information seems to be pulling society farther and farther and farther apart in a way that is making people crazier.
Yeah.
And
why is it siloing though? Is that just a natural order of things?
No, I don't think so. I think this is entirely the problem of social media platforms. Their goal is to not put truth in front of you, to put anything resembling reality. Their goal is to put in front of you something that caters to your pre-existing beliefs so that you feel good on the platform, so that you stay on the platform for longer, so that they show more ads to you.
Yeah. And there's something that it's interesting to think about though, because it's like, it feels very like some of these things feel very controlled, like regarding trying to reduce free speech or trying to like narrate the direction that things must go. And at the same time, it feels like there's probably a bit of a natural component to it that us humans will follow, right? That we will, even if it was just a completely maybe open and free speech market, right? That we'll still naturally start to congregate and order ourselves where we feel best.
Sure,
Right.
I don't disagree with that at all. It's just I think the way that we're congregating right now
Mhm.
is dependent on essentially casino economics,
Yeah.
which to me doesn't like it's a different type of oppression.
Yeah.
It's like a Brave New World type of oppression rather than like a 1984 type of oppression. And like I think the thing that probably needs to happen is some sort of unifying narrative about where we go
Mhm.
needs to come about. And that either needs to come at like a grassroots level, which personally I think is probably the most positive way of doing it.
Yeah.
Because if you are trying to do it from the top down, then it is going to be a social media platform being like, this is reality, or the government coming in and saying that this is reality, which to be clear, and this is probably where I diverge from a lot of our listeners, I still think that the government or social media platforms coming in and like saying this is reality is preferable to where we are now, but I don't think that it's preferable than reality being defined from the people from the bottom up. I think a grassroots movement of being like, okay, this is what we're aiming for as a society
Mhm.
is the best solution out of everything.
I don't understand why we haven't been able to figure that out as far as a society. Like some of the basic, human values, I feel like are
Mhm.
just not not there.
Yeah,
Somehow,
at least in a
pe-
country,
people
right?
seem like, yeah, at least within. I
Mhm.
mean, well, now nations are not so. It's a
But
diff-
like
that's a
in the
different story
West, right?
again.
Like in the West, like
In what
I
the
can
West
see-
was,
Yeah,
not
sure,
not in
sure.
what the West is right now. The West isn't
Sure.
no, in my opinion,
But, like,
completely lost its
I-
Western identity.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
regardless of whatever the Western identity is, I don't think we would ever say like, oh, like us and China, like we're gonna have like similar like goals as like societies or whatever. I think those are probably too divergent.
I think a lot of them would still match up because it's human. We're still all human, right? So I think a lot of it should be have
Should
have
hopefully.
commonalities.
Yeah.
But then there's the differentiation of like, hey, do I want to like dominate everybody else and like be
Mhm.
like the absolute rulers, or like are we okay just like having like the same level of mutual respect for everybody and like we're not gonna do harm, blah blah blah. Like there's a couple of these like golden
Yeah.
rules or base principles.
I guess I agree with you at the end of the day because to me the unifying like goal that everyone seems to be able to like get on board with, unless you're just a straight up nihilist,
Mhm.
is survival.
Mhm.
Is like having a child, like propagating into the future or whatever. Like that is enough of like a fundamental like goal across places.
Somehow we lost that though
Yeah,
last couple of years.
exactly.
There was-
But again, you know what's crazy?
It's coming back now because of politics though, which is
Mm-hmm.
interesting because it was pushed out and now it's like more acceptable again
Mhm.
to have a family, to have children, to procreate,
Yeah. Again, though, I wonder if even that is related to some sort of like casino economics, right? It's this thing that like you have this device in your hand where you're able to look at it and it pushes you more and more and more and more into isolation because it's the illusion of connection, when in reality it's just pushing you farther and farther into a corner so that you can't relate to anyone out here.
Mm,
You're just here with your drug
mhm.
and you can't actually like relate to anyone around you.
Yeah.
So again, we can get more into this later on, but I thought this was an interesting thing because I think a lot
Things
of
like
people
this
talk
probably
about
will
it.
come up quite often.
Yeah.
because
Yeah. So but that was good. That was fun. I had a
somewhat
good time.
relevant.
Okay. I want to skip this one. I think we're gonna skip it.
Okay.
Okay. This one's good. This one popped off super hard last week.
Holy cow, dude.
Oh, exactly. I was like, I thought that was your genuine reaction
Yeah,
to the post. Holy cow, dude. I just gave Claudebot a task, and after 4 messages back and forth, it made a reservation at a restaurant for me. This saved me so much time. Wow. After another 6 texts, it sent a calendar invite for me, and it only cost me $87 and Opus 4.5 credits. AGI is here, man. Generational psyop. The reason why I thought this would be interesting to bring up.
Mhm.
Obviously, Claudebot really, really popped off last week. And honestly, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, wow, this is like pretty wild. I think I sent it to you and you were like, yeah, I want to buy like a Mac Mini at this point.
Yeah, it was like everybody's horny for the Mac Mini, so I was like, let me get some.
Exactly. I think as time has gone on, and by time, I literally mean like 2 days.
Yeah.
More posts are coming out in terms of what the actual limitations are
Mhm.
about Claudebot, in terms of the costs
Yeah.
associated with Claudebot. And I have seen a couple of things popping off in terms of the
The risk.
informational security
Mhm.
problem, the risk.
Yep.
Exactly. I guess it's like easy to hack or something in terms of like the information that you're giving it.
Yeah.
What have you seen online about this?
I mean, I've seen all the same stuff you're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
It's been all over the timelines.
Yeah.
I
this is
think
the-
it's super interesting though. Like this last guy was like making fun of it, right? But at the same time, it's like like you actually have the ability to, yeah, it's okay. If you have to go do the extra steps rather than just calling and making the reservation like he's talking about, like, yeah, maybe it takes a little bit more time, blah, blah, blah. And like, that's the phase that we're in right now, but it's not the,
It's just going to get
not-
better.
It's just going to get better, right? It's going to get better. It's like, I'm just like eternally optimistic for where these things will go. And our ability to use them to enhance so many other areas of our life. And it's fun to be able to like, they're novel use cases, but again, most people have just been excited about it. And again, I haven't really seen a lot of people talking about like real functions or something that's been built or done that's really been helpful. But I'm sure they're there, and I want to get into it myself. Go play.
Yeah. I'll say two things here. Again, I think everything that you just described here is the perfect encapsulation of things that are wrong with like Money Tutor and just the algorithm in general, right? Claudebot is something that ends up like just catching like wildfire. Everyone starts posting about it, but then you have a hard time being able to sift through the actual signal to like the chaff, separating the wheat from the chaff, right? And I think part of again some of the value that I hope to provide here on the show is when it comes to Claudebot, is there going to be any downside whatsoever, maybe minus your bank account, to get involved with Claudebot right now and to start tinkering with it right now? Because from my understanding with Claudebot, the more you interact with it, the more it learns from you, and the smarter and smarter and smarter it gets over time.
Yeah.
But even if that wasn't the case right now, that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
Right. So like if you can sift through the 70% of nonsense to find the 30% of like what's actually real, what's actually happening in the market, all that good stuff. There's no downside to like buying the Mac Mini now, connecting it to Claudebot, paying through the credits, and just getting used to the technology.
Where are you going
right now? I'm trying to find my fucking bookmarks.
You have it open, by the way.
My bookmarks?
No, I mean, you're saying you have it like shared right now. So I was just making sure you weren't going into your settings or like going to open something up.
I'm going to show everyone my corn.
No, it's like
bookmarks. Good Lord. Keep talking. There's a specific thing that I'm trying to find.
Yeah. People are like, what is Promethea? What are you?
Here, I'm going to change this to this.
Not even worth talking.
Now you can do that.
Because I was like, oh, I also want to watch what you're up to in your bookmarks there.
Yeah. Don't worry. I deleted everything that needed to be deleted on in this particular profile.
No, Claudebot. I mean, again, I haven't actually set it up and used it. I love the idea of it. Once I saw that it was like you had the ability to have Claude like running locally and be able to set up like multiple separate computers and basically have them be their own siloed agents. So like you don't have to actually have the data risk, as long as you make sure you have a clear barrier between your own information and you don't give it access to credit cards that are like don't have like high limits and money that you're not ready to lose. It's you got to just have some basic operational security measures in place. But besides that, it's like 100% something to be engaged in. Put some time and effort into it. I think it's like be ahead of the curve, right?
Yeah. To speak to that point, I think the best resource that I found online that kind of compiled all of the actual good stuff about Claudebot and cut through a lot of the bullshit was by Robert Scoble. This guy does a pretty good job of distilling all of the hype happening online when it comes to all of these new AI technologies and putting it into like a very concise guide. So if you guys are interested, Robert Scoble, Scobleizer. Sorry, Robert, if I'm saying that incorrectly. But it's this ultimate Claudebot post on X. It's a little bit dry, a little bit technical, but it will get you through the general setup. It does a pretty good job of walking through what it can do, what it can't do. As you can see here, some fun posts, tutorials, that kind of thing. So again, that's part of the value that I hope to be able to provide with this show. If you need this, again, Robert Scoble, you'll see his post, The Ultimate Claudebot Report. So from here, the next thing we get into is WAP. So WAP is making some waves again for two reasons. Number one, they're the official payments network of something called Ohana, which we'll talk about in a minute. But people are also very impressed with the quality coming out of this video because this is all AI video. So I figure we watch the video, and then we go from there. How's that sound?
Love it.
All right, let's do it. Okay.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you guys kind of do that with your current platform, which we won't say on air
Yeah,
because you want to keep it private. But
On the DL.
yeah, I mean, you guys
Guys are
find
the
yourself doing this kind of thing. Pretty,
Totally. Yeah. Renting out our
frequently.
places. Yeah. Renting out our villas and then being able to also, just fund I mean, yeah, have the ability to go travel.
If you're someone who
Yes.
has property in it, like not like owned property necessarily, but at least rented property in like a different in a different geographic location, I could see this being something that allows to kind of step
Yeah.
to the side of some of the regulations.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, this is the lifestyle most people, I mean, for years people have been looking for, right?
Mhm.
Wanting to travel, or people like get into this, like, oh, don't have to worry about it. How you can make sure you keep having the money coming in, and like, oh, you don't have to pay your mortgage or whatever it might be on the house that you own in your hometown, and be able to have that covered. And like, now you actually get to go live and kind of travel and be free and like have a different taste of life for as long as you want, is what they're selling here. I think, I mean, that's what I've been doing for the last decade or so.
Yeah.
Traveling, living free, doing this thing. And it's like, this concern of people like wanting to travel, but then needing to make sure that they can figure something out for their house always seems complex. This advertising anyways makes it seem like it's no problem.
Mhm. I think it's interesting how many different pies WAP is trying to put their hands into.
Yeah.
Like originally when I came across WAP, I was under the impression that it was basically just like another version of school.
Yeah.
Right. You host your course there, you pump traffic, whatever. But like they're getting into this. They just launched WAP U, which is essentially I think they're trying to essentially market it as some sort of alternative to like going to business school.
Yeah.
It seems to be the case that they are trying to be kind of the everything app when
Yep.
it comes to selling stuff online.
Yeah. I was going to say that. Sounds like they're trying to take a run at X.
Kind of,
Like
or
X trying
not
to become
even
the one.
X. What's the Chinese one? It's like WeChat
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of thing. Maybe there's no like texting capabilities. Maybe there's no social media platform built in.
Yeah.
Yet
Yes,
though,
I
you know, like
Now they can run it up quick and easy. So get some of this this more important infrastructure in, like the payments network and everything like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
They're laying down the foundation to have the infrastructure to set themselves up as their own, as we were talking about silos before, their own siloed everything app for their audience.
their own techno feudalist society.
Hmm.
In a positive way. I say that
Yeah.
kind of jokingly negative, but like, yeah, no, I think everyone is kind of out there trying to really stake their own kind of techno feudalist plot of land and
Yep.
being like, okay, like this is where we
This
this
is
is where we own.
This is our
This
nation,
domain.
my
Yeah.
digital nation.
The other thing that I thought was interesting about this video, again, like this was probably produced in like 2-ish, 3-ish days, realistically. This part in the middle almost has like Wes Anderson vibes to a certain degree. Like it goes from like setting to setting
Hmm.
in a pretty seamless way. Again, if you were going to try and like really pull this off yourself, you're paying like hundreds of thousands of dollars to like build sets and have crews and whatever. This is built maybe 3 days.
Yeah, see, I haven't had a deep understanding of like actually video or production in this sense, but I commented on one yesterday because I just asked Rocco whatever just on a post related to that, because this guy had like the 3D rendering or basically whatever of a like a speed race, like kind of Star Wars style, like car that comes, rips around and then like takes off, and then he's like, oh, this would take like, this is like incomparable to what it used to cost or like a couple of years ago to actually go put this together. And then I asked, and it was like saying that it would have taken between like 20,000 to 200,000 for just that short little video clip like put together. And I was like, wow. And the scale that we're at right now, where it's like a couple cents, not even.
Yeah, video
Like-
production is crazy expensive because like
Yeah.
even to operate a camera, right? Like you,
Mhm.
it isn't just one person operating the camera. It's someone like operating the focus. It's someone like actually watching the shit. It's someone operating like
Yeah.
the dolly or whatever, and then it's the director kind of like watching all of it happen, and then it's just and then there's potentially
Virtual
a
effects and all.
cinematographer trying to tell the cameraman like what to capture. It's like a whole thing.
Mhm.
But like with this, you know, all you need to do realistically is like this base image right here that we see on camera. All you would need to do is probably just draw a picture in like pencil, upload that to like Gemini and be like, hey, give me like a relatively photorealistic thing where it looks like a New York apartment, like surrounded like with bricks on the wall kind of thing. It gives you this, right? And then from here, it gives you like your base image that you're generally happy with. And then you say, okay, can we like do one where the camera angle is down like below her? And then you have that.
Mhm.
That's good to go. And then from there is just getting like a series of wide angle shots. And each of these would be its own prompt kind of thing. This probably is the base image. And then
Yeah,
all
you
you
just get the design aesthetic, and
You-
then you
exactly.
then you print it across like a couple different scenes. You know, make it Tokyo, make it Alaska, make it wherever else,
Mhm.
right?
It's basically how people used to do storyboarding back in
Mhm.
the day. They're just like, okay, here's frame one, here's frame two, blah blah blah, and then all you have to do from here is generate the video itself with something like this. You can probably just put in a single clip, put it into Higgsfield, and say, hey, like have it zoom in. Hey, for this video, just have it sit there. Hey, for this video, zoom in again, and then hey, and then here, this is where you start to get into the video production process where you have one clip at the beginning and then one clip at the end. This is probably the clip at the beginning right here. This without the title is probably the clip at the end, and you just say, okay, here's the beginning clip, here's the ending clip, and then it's just combining her walking from room to
Gotcha.
room.
Yep.
You do that from scene to scene, boom, you have your video.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Previously, you would have had to build each of these sets. You would have had to probably do the green screen because you're not going to go to Tanzania and like film on set. And as you said, for like pennies on the dollar, not even pennies on the dollar, like
Fraction of
fractions of
a
pennies on the
cent,
dollar.
yeah.
It's crazy. So again, interesting stuff with this WAP thing. The product itself is cool. I actually want to go check out Ohana at this point. WAP getting its fingers into multiple pies is cool. And the video production process. Lots of interesting stuff. Anything else on this?
The convergence of all this stuff and like how easy it like as we mentioned with Ashok before, like the amount of things that are coming together to allow him now to put together the product that he's doing, right? Same thing here, right? There's a whole bunch of things merging together, allowing WAP to actually get the payments network set up, right? And like to be able to put together ads like this, right? Like, or the creatives in a sense, like this quick and easy. When we were talking before about the siloed different pieces in social media, right? Like we're going to be able to like be at a point here pretty quick where we're creating our own worlds virtually, and then I think it'll be like a blend, right? Like somewhere we can create our own worlds and people come in, virtual reality, whatever it might be, or where you get to come interact and have a social platform where you're like, you're having talks like in the little community sections that you have on X, and then maybe separate ones where we have more open free markets.
Sure.
Where like you're talking about like, oh, is there a middle ground? I don't know. Maybe there's not a middle ground, but it's just access to both.
Or is there like an actual open internet again that people like are just
I
like,
would
yo,
say there needs to be the actual open internet needs to be protected and stay
I would agree with that.
existing. In like this is just like completely like unhinged. Like there's zero restrictions on
We
what's
need to
going
be
on.
able to
Like, this
fund
is the-
Boko
this is-
Haram
this
if we
is the
want.
Yeah, if you want to, go ahead.
Yeah, no, but I
Yeah.
agree with the sentiment.
Yeah.
Having at least a part of the internet that is unregulated, ideally not accessible to general folk. It's just like I don't trust general folk.
What can they do about it though?
Who's they?
Yeah, the general folk you're talking about.
No, I feel like
but now you're trying to put restrictions on the open free market.
No, it wouldn't be that. It's not that you're trying to like block those people out. It's just those people are never going to go out of their way to like actually learn how to use like the Onion or like access like the dark web in any real way, because people just don't care that much about like technical solutions, and that in and of itself is a bit of a screener and a gateway for like the type of people that end up accessing those spaces, which I think is a positive. I don't
Yeah.
think it's a negative.
I mean, it has been. Maybe those barriers will get pulled down, though.
And I think that would ruin the space. Honestly, I think the more people that enter spaces, that
It would just be harder then to filter out the people you're looking to interact with or the circles.
Exactly.
And then again, what happens? The natural siloing.
Say that one more time.
The natural siloing starts to take place again. It's like it's the again, I think really just a human thing. It feels like to me, like the reconstructing is like we go back to the tribal, our tribes, and so you're saying, oh, don't allow the normal people into these spaces, right? Into like that real, genuine, just like raw open web. And then if they were opened up and they had the ability to walk around free, you'd then be like, oh, I want to avoid these people, or like, how do I like not see the content or like spend time and energy around whatever they're doing? And I want to then find like the deeper layers of the people that were here before that figured out that could access these things before everybody else could, right? And which then again will create a form of social siloing, I would say.
And I guess what I would rather, and this is why I don't disagree with the general principle of like more speech is a good. I can't fucking master this phrase. More speech is a good remedy to bad speech. I don't disagree with it in principle, just like I don't disagree with what it is that you just said in principle, because on the open internet, there isn't a casino economics algorithm shuffling people in a certain direction. If they hop into that metaverse, let's just physically say it's like a metaverse or whatever. Like you're right. Like there are people that are going to silo over here and silo over here because that's what human beings naturally do. I would rather that naturally play out rather than the casino economics be the artificial divider. I think that's the only difference.
I gotcha. Casino economics might just be where we go to, though. Now we're so used to it. If our brain, like we can't operate without it.
Yeah, certainly. I think if profit ends up being the number one thing that like unifies like society in terms of like where it is that we're heading, there's no breaking out of casino economics. But I wonder if, hopefully people choose to dig into something deeper. But again, that's a larger conversation, I guess. And also, WAP, good stuff. Moving on. Okay. I wonder if we should come back to this one tomorrow, because like neither of us read it. We shouldn't.
It'll take a little bit long. Like, we'll probably be a little slower because we got to actually read it and like process it.
Let's.
That's everything we're doing right now, though. But this is just what you're saying. It's a long article that everybody should read.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting premise. It's 20 to 30 companies don't exist. I shouldn't say that we haven't read articles on screen. I'm going to come back to this tomorrow. It'll be great. This one I thought was interesting. A Lovable user recently built a service that turns your pet photos into Renaissance portraits and ships them to you. The app is now making $100,000 a month, and we ordered one for our office dog. So first of all, who knows if it's making $100,000 a month, but that's kind of beside the point. This is a fascinating model. And like you were talking to Ashok, it's amazing how quickly something like this can be vibe coded. Again, if this is made with Lovable, literally made in like a few days, ready to go.
In a day.
And targets the pet market.
I feel like these have already existed, though. Like you can do it with like family portraits or like probably pets, but now it's just you can do it with AI
and do it significantly cheaper too. I think this protects a lot of the margins.
An artist. You don't have to, like, there's no true. And so then all it is like somebody, all they need to do is set up with somebody who can print these and have a nice frame. And then if you don't have that shop yourself and you want to create this business, you need to find the actual people who can make the physical thing and then ship it out for you. And then you just make the web interface. That's the image generator. Plug Nano Banana.
Yeah. Back in when was this? I think it was 2020, 2021. I had this idea of they have these giant digital frames that are like as big as paintings, right? But it's essentially a TV.
Okay.
And they're nicely framed, just like you see here. And I thought it would be kind of interesting and hilarious. This is back when NFTs were starting to like really pop off. I have like this giant meme collection of over 12,000, like really, really kind of like just nasty memes. And I thought it would be
nasty.
Yeah, like just dark, dark shit.
I don't know if we want to see that collection.
Yeah, no, we're not going to show it.
I have no association to this.
Don't worry
that I'm in conversation with right now.
It's all legal. It's not like super
CIA or somebody rolls up. Like I got no, I don't know what's in his drawers.
Don't worry. Only some of them encourage political violence. So with this, my original idea was to back when NFTs were a thing, to
Mhm.
basically like either create my own memes, which I wasn't very good at doing, but I was going to try, or just finding other memes that had already popped off online that people had not made NFTs out of,
Mm.
because it's really difficult to figure out who like created a meme of something. Right?
Yeah.
It's like hard to figure out the originator of something like that. But to do a bunch of NFTs, sell them as NFTs, and part of what people would get would be like a massive TV screen that they could put in their living room, where it could cycle through all of the NFTs of like my meme collection. And I think it was going to be like Massey's fine art memes or something like that. That you could that you could do like this. This is a significantly more tasteful approach to the business model than mine.
Mhm.
But I do think that there. No, that's all. I don't have any further insights.
I love it. Great idea.
Yeah,
Big TV with your dirty meme collection.
yeah. I just
Scrolling through.
it would be one more thing that I'll say about this. It would
Yep.
be interesting to potentially find the owner of this and just talk to them in terms of like how they came up with the product idea and how they're marketing it as well.
How they're marketing it, I would
Mhm.
say. I'd be curious, yeah. Because that's the thing is right now we're at a point where like, yes, we can make stuff. We have the ability to vibe code all kinds of stuff.
How do you
And most-
distribute it?
Exactly. The marketing, the sales.
Yeah.
Do you actually get revenue on the thing you made? Or does it
Hopefully.
just look good?
That's the hope. Also going to skip this one. With this, okay, this one I thought was interesting, and I think it does. A lot of guys in money Twitter might get mad at this, but I thought it was a useful post. This one I may actually kind of read through. I'm just trying to see. I'll just read through some of it. You can
Let's go.
stop me where you want.
Do you want me to read
stop
some? So
Yeah.
you can have a narrative? Or,
Sure,
or
sure.
you
Go
can
for
talk
it.
about
Yeah,
or
go
what?
for it. Yeah.
You're being sold a lie, right? And the people selling it know it's a lie. They just don't care because the more a lie. No, my man, maybe you should read this.
Okay, you got it.
Because the lie is more profitable than the truth. So the lie, every guru on Twitter says, pay me $3,000 and I'll show you how I make $100,000 a month. The truth, if they were actually making $100,000 a month doing the thing, why do they need your $3,000? Why aren't they just doing more of the thing that makes them the $100,000 a month? The answer, simple, because they're not making $100,000 a month doing the thing. They're making it selling the course about the thing.
So let's pause here.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that sentiment?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think I do too.
Mhm.
At this point, I think a positive thing is happening.
Most, I mean, there's going to be a very small demographic of people who actually maybe are doing a different type of business, and then now them selling it is an extra layer of information product business on top of that. That's like going to be a new revenue stream for them, or like the extra, like a mastermind, extra additional side thing separate from the actual business.
Mhm.
But I think for most of them, yeah, it's definitely the business is selling you the thing
is the thing, and
Yeah.
rather than doing the thing,
rather than actually doing the thing.
I think a good example of this is probably this guy. I came across his brand a few weeks ago, I think at this point. His whole thing is how to essentially hack reselling watches,
Okay.
and also how to drive just insane cars, but using them as a store of wealth,
Mhm.
and being able to only drive them a certain amount of like mileage every year,
Yeah,
so that you can resell it in order to like make a profit on like whatever, right?
Yeah. He's doing the thing.
He's doing the thing.
Yeah.
And it's not like this is his, I mean, actually, I don't know. This might actually be his main like source of income. I have no idea. But like the thing with all of his cars is he owns the majority of the titles to the
Yeah.
cars. They're not leases. They're not like him
Mhm.
like trying to like kind of do whatever. Like this is the way that he's built his brand. And I think something else that's interesting here
Mhm.
is that this guy has sold the same 2 to 3 courses for 15 years. It's the
Yeah.
same course. It's not hopping from offer to offer to offer, because it's something that like watch flipping
Yep.
and car flipping
Yep.
is something that just continues to work,
Mhm.
right? So I think this would be a good example of kind of what it is that you're talking about. Like, I don't know actually if
We don't have the actual like verification of if he's doing the thing. I mean, I guess he is to a degree, but
well, he is,
we don't.
with the
he is
titles.
doing the
He
thing.
is. He's
Yeah,
doing the
we
thing.
just don't know how much of that has been funded by him selling the course.
Yeah, exactly.
Initially. right?
Exactly. But like, regardless, the idea isn't necessarily that like you're going to get rich doing this thing. It's that, hey, look, like this is a way to store your wealth and to make some money. And if you want to scale it further, these are the ways that you do it. Instead of coming in and again saying like, hey, you're going to make $100,000 if you pay me $3,000. And the thing that I was going to say a little bit earlier, wow, that's crazy. I picked the right one. Holy shit. Out of all of these tabs. Nice. So with this, I think the info product industry is undergoing a very useful transformation. And it's that people don't give a shit about info anymore, or at least less and less and less as time goes by, unless you're a boomer. And I think what that's pushing people in the direction of is just go for it. Here, I covered it up.
It's like jacked up right now.
I covered it up.
Tell
No one
me.
could hear. They could hear mine. You're safe. No, with I don't even remember what I was saying.
Sorry.
That's okay.
You're saying something about boomers, but
Oh yeah, no.
Um,
So the info product is going in a very useful direction. And that is where people don't really give a shit about like getting the info to like get whatever transformation they can make happen on their own, because they can get that pretty much anywhere at this point, from any YouTube video, from like whatever, right? What they care about is actually getting the transformation of what it is that they're looking to get. It's more of like a deliverability of results rather than like, here's the pathway. And I think as a result of that, this is going to be something that inherently cleans up the info industry, because all of these guys are going to have to pivot over to something that actually delivers value rather than, you know, being like, oh, like here's how to do like whatever. Something that this guy says later on in this thing, and I might come back to some of this, but
so measuring more on the percentage of your clients that actually get the outcome that you originally promised them.
let's say that again. Sorry.
Measuring a little bit more on dang,
Yeah, just do it.
the well, I'm like hearing my own voice right now. It's super weird.
Yeah, that's okay.
I don't know if it's getting fixed though. I think I'm just wrecked.
Okay.
I think it's fading out.
What is fading out?
My voice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you're just saying it's more on the outcome, right? So say what you're saying.
I think to kind of build off the point that I think you're making
Yep.
is ultimately, like, if you take a look at the numbers of like people inside of a person's course who actually get results,
Yeah.
it's very, very regularly like less than 5%.
Yeah.
Probably less than 3%.
And if
really.
people knew that going into it,
Yeah,
right,
they'd be
before
like,
buying
no,
it, they'd
fuck
be like,
that.
wow, the odds are pretty low, but then they'd have to weigh it up. Am I the person who's going to be able to make it work even with the odds being so low? Meaning maybe there's information missing, maybe there's a larger time commitment or other factors that haven't been acknowledged in the sales proposition of this course. right?
What you're saying right here explains exactly actually what's on screen. So like the guru cycle, you buy the course, which is hope. You watch the videos, you're learning, you don't make money. Reality. Guru says you didn't implement correctly. Step 5, you blame yourself and buy the advanced course. When you fail, the guru has a script. Others are making $10,000 a month with this exact system. Number 2, you need to work harder. Are you really following all the steps? Maybe you're not coachable. You blame yourself. The guru keeps your money. Repeat.
Yep.
Yes, 1 to 2% of students succeed, but they would have succeeded without the course. They're the ones who test relentlessly until something works. Real business is boring. Test shit, figure out what works, scale that, cut everything else, repeat for years. No shortcuts, no secrets, no endless testing. Because again, getting back to what we were talking about in this post here, I'm doing fucking fabulous. I keep like selecting the right ones out of these like 12 tabs. This is
Well
great.
done.
Again, the richest guy in your city doesn't necessarily go out and talk about what it is that he's doing because he doesn't want to go out and like create more competitors
Yeah.
for him. If we were to really strike gold on like some sort of like product that we were developing on the back end, I don't know if I would like necessarily even use this platform to come out and be like, hey guys, like this is what we're doing. And if you want to learn how to do the same thing, like we can show you exactly how.
Yeah.
We would just be creating more competitors. And this whole bullshit that many times the gurus say, like, oh, you know, like we're technically competing more gurus, but the reason why, or we're training more gurus to compete with us, but the reason we're doing that is because we have an abundance mindset, because like there's infinite like whatever in the market. That's not true. When it comes to like guru stuff, it's a zero sum like dynamic. Like there's a certain amount of market share that can go to Alex Hormozy versus Daniel Priestley versus, you know, whoever the fuck. And the whole cycle just kind of perpetuates itself in the form of like a Ponzi scheme at the end of the day. But again, I think because info is so easily accessible at this point,
Yeah.
we're going in a direction where deliverables, like real hardcore deliverables, are becoming the thing that people care most about.
Yep.
Rather than like, oh, here's like the general like you know, pathway of like how to do this, and if you can't do it, it's like your fault. It's not my responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a positive for the space.
I think it's a positive. I'm honestly surprised that it's been going on as long as it has been. It'll probably continue still for a little bit, right? Because there's still
everyone's desperate. Not
Yeah.
everyone. There are a lot of desperate people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm shocked, like in the info product space, in like the fitness coaching space, whatever it might be, like the amount of people out there that have supposedly built brands and are making revenue on doing the exact same thing across the board. I'm surprised that it works as much as it does and at the scale that it does. But I know obviously there's
It's
a
going
degree
away
of it-
though.
Yeah.
It's going away.
And there's a degree of it that like how much of it actually works, right?
Mhm.
In a sense of like, oh, they make X claim of, hey, I made this much revenue this month. And it's like, okay, well, how much ad spend actually went to there?
Yeah, I think the market is becoming significantly more sophisticated. People who are hopping on sales calls, people who are hopping on webinars, understand that they're being sold. It's not a free training anymore, right? No one's stupid. And on top of that, like I think enough people have bought digital courses at this point where their understanding is that like, oh, like the last 3 didn't work. I kind of doubt that this one is going to work. And as a result, they're really looking for real verifiable pieces of information that they can look at something and be like, okay, this either works or it doesn't. Again, to get back to it, Hyros is a good example.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, you get a refund. The end. Like that's the way that most of these products I think should be sold. But right now, because everything is just so non-standardized, I guess, all of these info product guys can come in and optimize their business models around like payment in full. When in reality, if I was going and paying McKinsey Consulting for something, I would be paying a 25% startup fee. I would be paying probably like a 50% like fee, like when a certain milestone regarding revenue was hit, and then another 25% once the project was closed out. That's how info guys should be selling their products, but they don't have to because it's the Wild West and nobody knows what to expect realistically from something like this. Because the only thing that we have as an alternative example is college, which is also kind of a bullshit like billing procedure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think there's a lot of growth for really exciting things to happen in the space if the consumers start to force the info sellers to start acting like McKinsey as opposed to acting like just
Walmart,
or Andrew Tate, Walmart. Anything else? Feeling good. Okay. We'll skip this one. This one I thought was funny, or not funny. That was the wrong adjective. This one I thought was interesting. I had
Go back to the info, Don.
That's a good point. I should
It's another one.
Yeah, try not to react to multiple things from the same person each day.
It's okay.
This one I thought was interesting though. This guy got a call from an AI sales agent from an Australian offers funnel that he opted into. It was genuinely the best I've heard so far. A 50-year-old prospect would have no idea it was AI. The pauses before talking was perfect. Tonality was good. I was pushing it a bit. I was pushing it a bit too, and it was genuinely handling objections to book the call. I'm now convinced if someone nails this technology, you will not need to pay, a sales team. I don't know how competition will work under this format, but I do know that the creators of this technology will make a lot of money. There's another guy automating an element of the sales cycle. That I want to get on the show, actually. His product is called Kendo AI, and it's automating sales team training. Because usually when a sales manager is, making sure that their sales reps are getting better and better and better, they have to sit down and physically spend time with them to like kind of role play, to be like, hey, I like this in your call, I didn't like this in your call, or whatever. But this Kendo AI is listening to all of the sales reps' calls, distilling insights for the sales manager, and it allows for the sales reps to sit down and actually do the role playing
Mhm.
with the AI rather than with the sales reps, and for the sales rep to come in, or excuse me, the sales manager to again kind of
Mhm.
watch everything that's happening on the back end. Um,
We're all just training our replacements. That's
Exactly.
exactly what they're doing. Like,
Exactly.
So they're not doing
Yeah.
they're not handing over the sales rep yet
Mhm.
in their example, but they're absolutely going to be.
Mhm.
Then, or like that's the next step, right? And they're just training their sales rep on the calls right now of what's working and not working inside of the humans actually still doing that work, right? And make it seem like, oh, we're not going to replace you guys. You guys are just helping train your own trainer to improve you,
Mhm.
and then see you later.
Yeah, no, everything that we're headed towards seems like it's very much a founder's market rather than an employee market.
Yes.
Because if you have all of this data in a single database, and within 3 years, when we don't need to hire sales teams, you have all of this data that was trained from your in-person sales team.
Mhm.
If you ever wanted to sell that agency or whatever it is that you're doing to someone else, you can do it because it brings along the literal sales team to do the selling for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't require any expertise because it's already all inside of a brain. It's wild.
Yeah.
Really crazy.
It is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. This model though is like he's talking about like somebody nailing the technology. I don't know if one person needs to nail the technology. Like there's some of the different, like, there's been 11 labs, and then there's which other one just came out recently.
And just use like a series of APIs kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you can just have a series of those, and then it's just the people right now, like the actual implementation of it, that are going to refine the model so that it can communicate in the manner and based on like what you're talking about, the data from the sales teams, right? The data from the sales teams and or the data from the actual companies that you're going to be inserting this technology into. But there's a wide spectrum right now.
Mhm.
So this is one where you can start to, if you wanted to be an agency owner and like go and start to do a vertical build out, like there's so many aspects that you can add on to somebody's business via AI functions to enhance it. Though this, if you wanted to focus specifically just on the voice automation here in terms of sales as a sales rep or whatever it might be, or that's a very wide, like there's a vertical market, or sorry, horizontal market there
Mhm.
available with all the different industries that you can go in and start adding that just plugging that into, collect that data, and
Yep.
then you can start building out vertically afterwards.
Yeah. Have you heard of Air? It was a scam company that kind of blew up about a year and a half ago.
I don't know if I have.
They were pumping hard with ads. This was back when, again, Anti-Profit first blew up. I almost actually went in the direction of working with them. But it was essentially an automated, they were selling it as an automated sales team,
Okay.
like automated cold calls, automated this, automated that.
Mhm.
And like it was AI voice that was having the conversations or whatever. It's too bad that they launched 2 years ago, because like if they would have launched now, they probably would have like killed it, honestly. But it's that the technology wasn't there back in 2022, 2023. But a lot of people paid money in the direction of Air. Air just disappeared. I think there was a class action lawsuit against them eventually because of how badly they fucked up.
Oh, not like data leaks or something like that? Or?
No. It was just like literally people paying them money and they just like disappeared.
Oh.
And it, like I remember hopping on a sales call with them. The minimum that I would have had to pay to start working with them was like $15K.
Mhm.
So like it wasn't like a SaaS subscription either. It was just like like massive payments. So
Yeah.
But yeah, it would have been interesting to see if Air would have launched today, how much something like that would absolutely kill it in the market. This is more of just a side piece, something that I have been hearing more and more of, but I thought the comment section on this one was the most interesting thing. So this guy asks, who here has made ads work for X? And I'm not looking for an agency. I mean a founder or marketer. If you have and can prove positive ROAS, I'd love to pay you for your time. We go down here. This guy says, this guy's literally the only person who knows. Matt Paulson, big ads guy we've followed for a second. We tried it a few times, never worked. X users are interested in X. They're not interested in other stuff. Went too far, sorry.
Interesting observation.
Yeah, only thing I've seen media buyers say consistently is that the targeting is so junk that they treat X like a native platform. It needs to sort of truly mass market offer that would work on things like Outbrain or Taboola. And again, these comments go on and on and on and on and on. And even if you go to this guy's response to his own post, it says a lot about ads platform that my 90K followers of marketers and entrepreneurs, none have made this platform work. Surprised someone that from X doesn't reach out here would be a great opportunity for them.
Yeah.
So it is interesting. I mean,
That's-
everyone said that, X obviously had its problems with monetizing the ad network a couple of years ago because of like the Nazi stuff and like racism, and no one wanted to advertise on the platform. But even from a targeting perspective and a ROAS perspective, it seems like the people who even try to do it don't get the greatest results.
Yeah. Yeah. That's unfortunate to know that. I mean, it's not unfortunate, but it's just, I mean, yeah, when you know your audience is there, it just requires then a different form of capturing. Like you have to play a different game, right? You can't just do the paid ads that you might be able to do on another platform like we were talking about and expect the algorithm to feed people who are ready to click on a product and like leave the platform and go purchase whatever it is. I would assume that it would still be helpful for ads, but the only point would be necessary for like account growth, probably, right? Account growth or engagement in some form you could use it for to start trying to drive more traffic to profiles,
Certainly,
to gain
yeah.
followers. Though then you need to then via the content on that platform be able to on your actual pages then move them over, right? So the direct click through to your product and purchase, yeah, I think it might just clearly be a different game here on X.
Yeah, I thinking about it, even when I had like a free version of X and wasn't paying for like a subscription or anything, I don't think I've ever clicked on an ad.
Yeah.
And the moment that I see something is an ad, I just immediately go buy it. I'm not even interested in seeing if it's something that's like catered to me. Like on Instagram,
Yeah.
I have, for whatever reason, I have more of an openness to see if like an ad is like perfectly targeted to something that I'm looking for or whatever. I at least have like 1 second or 1.5 seconds of like tolerance. On X, I really don't.
Super interesting actually, because when I think about it as well, so like for me coming from having some time in the crypto space as well here, before I had a paid account as well on X, anytime I saw an ad, I was like a hard like repelled by anything, because I was like, everything is going to be like a wallet drainer or something like that, something. I was like, everything is like every ad I saw
Malicious.
on X, I was like, I just viewed everything as malicious. I'm like, no chance I'm touching that. And then I was like, if I ever like caught myself actually reading for a second an ad, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I felt like, I was like, no, don't fall for it. I was like, I'm going to trap myself into something here and like get myself screwed. So yeah, no, on X, it was that like total repulsion. And then again, on Instagram, like you're saying, like I actually really enjoy watching ads, which is weird. Like some ads are like really good and I just want to see like what they're advertising. So sometimes there's a loop even like where I can get it into where I see one ad and then I'll get to a point where like I just like somehow swipe through ad continuously. I don't know how to get there like manually, but when I do, I'm like, it's fun sometimes to see what people are advertising.
It is kind
and
of
find good products.
Yeah, true. I do think it's interesting that everything that you just described is an indication that, and I feel like I probably feel the same way as well when I come across ads here. It's just like, to me, X is such a low trust platform.
Yeah.
Regardless of what sector you're in. Which again, I don't want to get back to the topic, but maybe there is even on the monetization side for a company, maybe there is an argument to coming in and sort of like cleaning up like an algorithm so that it is a little bit more high trust. I don't know if necessarily any of these tech platforms could do it with the current setup, but like the one thing that I really enjoy about that 2 Cents app, for example, is at the very least, anyone who's talking about money, like their bank account is attached to like what it is that they're saying. And it's like a verified amount of funds in their actual bank account.
Yeah.
I think if you are trying to run ads on a platform that sort of like almost takes pride in the fact that it's so low trust in a funny way, which is kind of weird. You wouldn't think that's the case. But at the same time, a lot of people look at the app and consider it to be the most high trust place. It's sort of weird.
It is a weird dynamic. Yeah. Because I do view it as the highest trust place. If I want to go see what I feel like is actually happening, I'm checking out X. For sure.
Same.
But at the same time, it's like compared to how it used to be, like where like check marks, right? Now it's like anybody can have a check mark and you just buy it, right? So like that's like there's a reduction of trust via that, right? So there's somehow it's like improved in some manners and reduced in other ways.
Yeah, I think maybe this is a better articulation of it, and maybe this is again partially what I'm trying to like fill in the market with. You know what it is that we're doing here. I think in order to have a really good experience on X, you have to be able to like read between the lines of the content that you're consuming. Because if you don't, it is such a low trust platform that you can fall prey to any number of scams.
Yeah.
But you do that a couple of times, and then you start to kind of like grow like a couple of shields, and you're like, okay, I kind of understand how to like interface with this. But what that leaves a lot of the hardened veterans upset about with the platform, especially like with money Twitter, is that they realize that everything is set up in order to be as viral as possible, in order to kind of leave out any of the nuance, which seems like, again, I wasn't on Twitter in 2021, 2022, but it seems to be one of the things that people miss the most about that period of time is it's all viral. It's all for the purpose of kind of getting you to like trip and fall down your first like one or two scams, because that's where the money is made on Twitter. Until you start to become a little bit more cynical and a little bit more sophisticated in terms of how you work with it.
Yeah, I saw something on like I don't know, you probably don't know Pump Fun.
I do.
I
Yeah.
didn't pull it up. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So I think it was like something this morning. I saw somebody saying that there was only like 0.4% of the wallets that are interacting there and like are actually profitable,
That's insane.
which is like an indicator of like,
Wow.
you know, spillover from what we see on X and like some of these info products and things like that. Like it's a very, very small amount. So to be able to get the people who are distill them more like where the real value is, like it takes some effort and usually having some battle wounds and scars for like the early entrants who are in this space and need to find their way through to where the real signal is at.
Yeah. When it comes to Pump.fun,
Gezondheid.
when it comes to Pump.fun, is most of the traffic that gets driven over there like from X and Discord?
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
X. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I mean, yeah, most crypto Twitter is like heavy on X. So this is probably the main platform. And people on YouTube and Reddit and Discord and like just Telegram groups and stuff. But most of like where people build the profiles, X for sure.
Interesting. I feel like maybe the reason for that is because like, for example, I posted something related to like day trading a couple of months ago on Instagram. Video was immediately taken down. It seems like on video focused platforms, anything to do with like finance essentially, it seems like they do a pretty focused job of like moderating, so it's kind of hard to build an audience on those platforms. Yeah. Okay, cool. So we have about 5 minutes left. I want to see this one. I want to see what you think about this, because now we're getting into meta trends. This guy, his name is Molson. He's based in this part of the world. He has a big toy manufacturing company called Brain Flakes. This post I thought was interesting. 6 trains that will stop at nothing. Number 1 billion Indians, whether it's immigration or the internet, 1 billion Indians are coming online, and that is going to change the world. Number 2, Chinese hardware supremacy. A little bit of what we were talking about with Ashok today. China is going Super Saiyan on the physical world. You cannot avoid trading with China, and their military will be the strongest in the world. Number 3, a retreating America. Politically, economically, militarily, it will not be possible for the United States to keep its role as the global hegemon. Number 4, developed world is going to print. Developed world debt is unsustainable. The real world productivity is not there to pay it down. The only solution is to print money. Number 5, artificial intelligence. Eliminate jobs, change jobs, create new jobs. It's anybody's guess, but it will change everything. Number 6, the white people identity crisis. 1 billion Indians, superpower China, retreating America, and fewer white people than ever. Blend in or Orania, either way, we're not in charge anymore. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean,
do you think it's bleak, or do you think it's, well, actually, before we get to bleak, do you think, do you generally agree with the assessment?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think it's bleak, or do you think it's just how things will go and you make the best of it?
I don't know if it's bleak. It's just a change, right? It's just a shift or a changing in the world order, how things are. The last one I found was a little comedic, just regarding the white people.
White people identity crisis,
because I identify as a white person.
White.
You know, that part I just find interesting, because it's just, you know, I don't think it's like the we're in charge anymore or something like that. Like, it's not like, I don't think white people have been just dominating the entire world and like calling the shots in Africa and Asia, and like, you know, there's been major economic influences, and the West leading the economy of the past however long has been a major driver there. But I think the bigger thing is here when you're talking about like as far as like the identity crisis, whatever it touches on there, is more people are irritated that the nations that they contributed to building are no longer their own nations. Aside from that, everything else you've mentioned, which are like real like economic things when you're thinking about business and AI, the developing world starting to be able to print. I'm wondering though, the developing world printing.
So that's like
That's-
like let's say Vietnam has like a lot of unsustainable debt, and the only way to deal with it is for them to literally print
Oh,
money.
like
It's not
printing
like
money.
we're
Yeah.
gonna make a lot of money. It's
I
like
was
literally
that
print.
part. Yeah, that's where I misread that. 'Cause I
Mhm.
was like, yeah, they're gonna print money. Yeah, I mean, everyone's gonna print. Everyone's gonna. It seems like just gonna keep printing until it blows up and like roll over. Like we look at silver and gold right now and what they're doing. Like that's not an indication of them becoming more valuable. That's
Mhm.
an indication of the fiat finance world
Falling apart.
Falling apart.
Yeah.
People becoming uneasy and like, oh, where are things going? Like, how are we shifting? Do we roll into the Chinese yuan or different things? Or you know, the safest bet right now is the physical thing that was around prior to the US dollar.
Have you heard that theory that the U.S. is going to basically dump all of its debt by selling its gold treasuries and just converting all of the gold treasuries into Bitcoin to make it the new reserve currency of the world? Have you heard that?
I mean, I've heard pieces of that. I didn't hear that they were gonna like people talking about them dumping all their gold and everything and like moving it to Bitcoin. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's a part of the play.
The idea there would be to
Mhm.
basically tank gold prices,
Yeah.
which fucks over China.
Yeah.
Who knows if this is going to happen? This is just like fun, like speculation, conspiracy theory stuff. But I do think, I think out of all of these, as the American in the room, I'm reading this book right now called Diplomacy, which is by Henry Kissinger. This book's massive. It's 36 hours on Audible. It's like it's the biggest book I've ever read, I think, on Audible. And the interesting thing about this book is it takes you through like diplomatic relations between the different European countries and when America entered the scene all the way back to the 1600s.
Mhm.
And I think with a retreating America, the thing that I think I'm probably most worried about, and honestly inside of this entire list, and maybe this is naive, maybe I should be more worried about artificial intelligence. I don't know. But like in terms of a retreating America, at the end of the day, has the world order since like post-war World War II been sort of a fiction in terms of like it being like equality for all, sovereignty for all? Like yes, it has been a fiction. However, that fiction has led in the direction of free trade, which is, lifted all ships as it's kind of gone along. And it seems like from this book that every time that the world goes into a mode of where it's sort of like more of a sphere of influence where different countries just say like, hey, this is my part of the world, fuck off.
Mhm.
Or if everyone just goes straight up into like realpolitik, everyone like all of a sudden there's just, it's sort of what I was saying a little bit earlier in terms of like people and the siloings of people. If there's no like shared goal towards people, then all of a sudden people start fighting.
Mhm.
And I think with AI, with China's scary like drone military and like all the capabilities that they have, and the facts that like just nukes are around, I guess I think that's the one thing that I'm a little bit worried about going into the next couple of years. But
Next couple of years, right now, this year is like
Yeah.
I mean, the past few years since COVID really kicked off, that for
Mhm.
me was like, oh, we're in a world war. Right from that point is like where like it was clear to me like that was the most obvious sign on a global scale of like there is a cold global war going on right now.
Yeah, a digital war. It is interesting that we don't consider digital what am I saying? Like digital espionage as like an act of war. It
Yeah.
really is interesting that we draw the line a lot later
Mhm.
because so many like informational psyops are happening inside of the West that
Oh, yeah.
like we're just like, okay, you know, we're letting like our society be like made more and more insane with every passing year. Like it doesn't like have any, you know, effect on reality, but it does.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree with that assessment.
We'll probably have some more talks on this because you, as the American in the room, I'm also curious to hear what some of your thoughts are a little bit more on how things are evolving and unfolding on a global geopolitical landscape with China and other factors. China.
There's
There's a new investment opportunity these days. We can
100%.
people going on New Gaza.
Yeah, no, if we want
wanna have
to, I want to be on the Peace Council of Gaza. I want to donate $1 billion so I can be on the Global Peace Council. That's what I want.
Okay, so is the minimum requirement?
It is. So we're gonna have to like really like scale this project to the moon so that we can be on the Gaza Peace Council.
I think we'll be able to find a partner.
Yeah.
Who we can partner up with.
That would
join
actually
that.
be hilarious if that was like the running inside joke. If we had like a GoFundMe to like get us to be a member of the Gaza Peace Council, that would be good. Okay, guys. Well, good. Kind
Good
of
session.
maiden voyage, kind of. It's
Yeah.
sort of like a new grand opening
Yeah.
of sorts. You notice we're talking about a number of different things on this broadcast, but I think it's all kind of under one umbrella.
Yeah.
Right. We're interested in making money. We're interested in how business is done here. This
Yeah.
is what you're interested in as well. But you participate in these conversations around what privacy looks like online, what free speech looks like online, where the world is going in terms of artificial intelligence or the developing world or retreating America or whatever. Even in the regards of like fitness and relationships, like these are all places where our brains are. So while we're going to focus on making money and how to make more of it, some of these peripheral topics will come in every so often. So I hope you guys enjoy that. And in the meantime, stay frosty, and we will see you in tomorrow's